coming in here today with all the sweet stuff. I can't remember what I was talking about. We are doing the viewer suggestion. I have a lot of suggestions today, which is going to be great. But we there might be a little bit, not really a new look per se, but like somebody told me like, hey, you should use ChatGPT to just make all your titles and stuff, and I was like, challenge accepted. So there's a huge robot vomit in the description today. That this is what the internet thinks my YouTube channel is. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah, welcome in everybody. I've also turned off the I think the reason people were getting like weird ad chains is because of the mid-roll ads. So I've turned those off. Oliver, hello. So hopefully people shouldn't be getting ads during this live stream. They might get ads when they come in, but like I don't think I can turn those off. I probably could. On YouTube. Yeah, we're on YouTube today. I hope we're on YouTube. Oliver, welcome in. So check that out. If people would like to sponsor the video, feel free to just throw money at me and I will keep not putting ads. We'll do that. John, hello, welcome in. Let me get everything set up here. You are indeed on YouTube. Okay, good. Good. Keep me posted on whether or not those ads show up today. They shouldn't. If they do, I'll have to keep fiddling with stuff. But yeah, that's another way to do it. Burning, hello, welcome in. WJ, hello. Inferno's hanging out with me today in chat. Did you used to stream on Twitch? I can't remember. Nice. Gotcha. Inferno's helped me a lot over the years here, setting up the YouTube channel, so I appreciate that. Start a poll. Here we go. Color of squiggle lines. Let's get this set up. There's some noise behind me. I do apologize for that, but gotta get laundry done, so laundry has to happen. Purple. Ask the community. Okay, we'll get that started. We'll draw a green rugby today to get things going. It is Wednesday. I have a list of where are we at? Oh no, don't do this to me. Somewhere in the process of starting the stream, the tablet drivers just died. Hold on a second. Maybe I can reset them. They are very far off, which is not what I want to see. Yep. For about... Ooh, that's super weird. The left side of my screen is correct. On the right side of my screen, it's a screen off. Let's try that again. Doop. 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 I was flipping through YouTube Shorts and someone was playing Zelda and they said the YouTube Direct thing was awful. And I was like, okay. Didn't know that was happening, but great. How's the eye? I forgot to ask. Mine's doing a lot better. It's doing better. It's not great. I have to go in tomorrow and we're going to talk about whether or not I have to do another surgery or not. But we'll see how it goes. Yeah, it's definitely better than last week. So there we go. Okay, I had to reset my video driver, which screwed everything up, but I will fix that real quick. And we'll get drawn. Let's get to drawing. Let's draw some rugbies. Now you guys probably hear Inferno, probably. I don't know if you were being heard before.
I don't know. I haven't checked.
Not sure. Either way.
I'm just hanging out, monitoring some stuff.
Not doing the Groomosh cosplay, right? No, I've had a lot of people ask me about wearing an eye patch, and I decided not to do that. So no, my eye I no longer need it. I did have it for a little while. Isn't surgery just stabbing something to life? Kind of. Yeah. Lucas asked, what happened to your eye? In February, I had a hemorrhage in my eye. One of the, not like, a lot of people when I say that, they're like, oh, your eye turned red. That's cool. And it's like, no. The inside of my eye exploded. I did not have a teared retina, which is what they thought I had. So that was good. That's good. My retina's not torn. But one of the blood vessels just popped, filled my eye with blood, and they had to do surgery to remove all of that blood. So now that it's a little silent, but it's audible. Is that better? Is that better? I hope that's better. Yeah, so that happened. They cleaned my eyeball out, and then now they basically have to do cleanup on for the rest of it. So hopefully my vision's not bad. It's slightly worse than it was before all this happened, which, I mean, after my eyeball exploding, having vision's good. So like that's nice. But yes, we're still trying to like figure out how to do the rest of the fixie. So hopefully I might just have to get new glasses. I might just have kind of weird eyeball things for the rest of my life. We'll find out. But hopefully it's getting better. Tomorrow will be the check to make sure that there is no more bleeding in my eye. But yeah, I can see. Is it okay for me to repost my character? Repost your character from what? I have a huge list from Monday and on, or if you saw the YouTube short last night, I have all of those. If you're reposting it from a previous week, yeah, you're very welcome to do that. I will put it on the list. I'm watching in a public space, so no volume at the moment. Oh, no problem, John. Hello. Feel free to, just hang out and watch. It's totally fine. Yeah, hope all goes well. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I love listening to cheery music while listening. That last song was a little weird. It feels like a commercial or something. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not. I mean, it would be better if my hadn't done that. But at the same time, it was a pretty big wake-up call for some pretty bad healthy habits that I needed to change. So overall, I think that's good. Hopefully, I'm moving in a healthy direction now. Yeah. So we'll keep on keeping on. I'll give everybody an update tomorrow. I probably won't be streaming tomorrow because of that. Usually when they do this, my eye gets all wham and I can't see anything. So I assume they're going to do that to both of my eyeballs, which will make streaming very difficult. Very difficult. So Elvin here. Hello. Oh, there's a list. Yeah. I wasn't sure how that worked. Eating fewer balls of salt. Pretty much. Yeah. Yep. My salt intake has... So there's like a level of which like the normal people should have this much salt per day. I discovered, and so now I'm eating this much. Now I'm eating about half what a normal person should have of salt in a day. I was eating about this much. Because I just didn't realize until I started tracking it. I was eating like 4 times the amount of salt you're supposed to have in a day. So, and that was pretty consistent. Not good. Not good for my heart. Not good for my eyeballs. Don't do that. Watch your salt intake, people. Some people eat tons of salt. Totally fine. They probably have functioning kidneys. Mine are not happy. So I'm hoping my kidneys will slowly be less angry with me all the time.
I hate it when my body is angry at me.
Yeah. I still can't post until I exit your YouTube and come back in. Weird bugs. Yeah, man, that's very strange. I wonder if it has something to do with like your cache, like it, because when you come back to my YouTube streams, it's always the same link. I think I'm pretty sure all of my YouTube streams are the same, so it might just be checking like before the stream actually comes up or something. I'm not sure. I have no idea. I desperately need to revise for some mock exams I have tomorrow. Why does salt taste so good? Well, you need salt to live. Like, that's important. People with kidneys, yeah. Be careful about those kidneys. They're tricky. They'll lull you into a false sense of security and then fill you full of stones.
I mean, at least you've been see fit to be granted a spare, right?
Yep, that's what people. I had one of my friends who's an eye doctor say that. He's like, "Well, you got two." I'm like, "Well, thanks."
Yeah. It's no Klingon because they have 2 entire sets.
Gotta get that extra. Just in case she wasn't on the list, she's red panda scion with ice blue eyes and long hair. Sure. Did you post that on the Monday or the Monday community post? I'll post it in here just to check, but. Oh no. There we go. Is there a way to look for... How do I search for words in an Excel sheet? That's the question. Is it still Control F? Nope, it wasn't on there. It's on there now. We're good. Okay. Careful with the axe. Hello, hello. Live long and prosper. I'm surprised my kidneys haven't died yet. Kidneys are pretty great. Like, as things go. Pretty cool organ. Pretty resilient. Prone to death. So, just be careful about that. Gotta get that body detox. You mean use your kidneys? Yeah, do that. Stop eating shit. That's the diet I'm on right now, is just stop eating bad stuff. It's going okay. It's going okay. I had a banana and some grapes for breakfast with an egg. It was great. Turns out there's lots of good food that doesn't have to kill you. I'm borderline thinking about going vegetarian. But I love chicken so much. Is it healthier if I raise it myself? That's the question. Because if so, I'll see if I can convince my insurance company to buy me some chickens. And a farm. I just gotta find a doctor that'll say like the only way you can be healthy is to own a farm and raise your own chickens.
That might be tough. I know that certain licensed dietitians, I think, is the specific profession.
Yeah, or nutritionists.
Specify. Well, yeah. So one of the two is a licensed professional, medical professional, right? Whereas the other one is just taught. But I don't remember which one is which.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up.
But
one I can get. My doctor has been asking if I want to get recommended to one, so I'm sure they'd send me to the good one.
I would certainly hope so.
Okay.
But usually I've found whenever you're given medical advice on what items to eat, they don't specify things such as, oh yeah, you have to create a farm and raise these animals because you can only eat this type of animal that's been processed in this way.
Yep.
They usually just say, oh, just eat this. It's been processed.
My doctor said I need to eat whole food, so I assume that's just whole chicken, still alive. Would be the best way. Not processed at all.
Yeah, right. Or
mentioned in chat. Not sure if I'm supposed to put it in descriptions. Yeah. So with you can either post your character suggestions in every Monday I post a community post, which is just, I don't know if people know how to get to that, but that's there. And then yesterday I posted a YouTube short and I was like, hey, You know, do people want their characters drawn? Put it here. So I grabbed all of those, and we have like 40 plus suggestions this week because of that. But we'll get through as many as we can. Do I like drawing buff girls? Yes. To be honest, I don't know kidneys were so huge for quite a while. Size of your fist, Jesus. Yeah, they're pretty big. Like they're giant filters in your body, which is awesome. The actual amount of stuff people should eat is tiny compared to eating an Oreo sundae and a mega burger with a Diet Coke, of course. Don't go vegan. My doctor, the last thing I talked to my doctor about was, he was like, if you try to go like vegetarian for like a year, we could probably take me off the medication that I'm currently on. But he doesn't see that as, one, being necessary, or two, me doing that. So medication. that's what he said. He's like, if you can stay on the low salt diet, we'll still put you on this medication and you'll be fine. But if you really don't want to take the medication, you'd probably have to go as far as to just be a vegetarian for a few years. So I'm trying. I'll do both. Like I'm gonna lower my meat intake and lower my salt intake, and we'll see how it goes. I've been eating a lot of vegetables, which is great. I forgot that I do actually like vegetables. Turns out carrots are delicious.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Real good. The other thing I've noticed is once you stop eating everything covered in salt, you actually don't need that much salt. Like things taste pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Same thing with sugar too.
Yeah. So, like, I have some like my treat for myself right now is hot toddies. Is that what they are? No, hot tamales. Hot toddies, a drink. Hot tamales. So I have like a handful of those every day. It's pretty good. It's like a soda. It's like having one soda. That's how much sugar's in them. So who knows? But sugar's not my problem. Sugar's not my problem. I need to watch my salt, my fats. I don't want to go completely vegan. Fish tastes too good, but I want to eat more vegetables and less meat. Yeah, that's basically what I'm trying to do right now. Which is good.
I mean,
it's good.
Isn't pescatarian fish only?
I think it's fish only, yeah. Which would probably be okay for me. But I'm not a big fish fan. I do eat it from time to time. I'm trying to increase my fish. I've essentially stopped. I know, welcome to the live stream where we talk about food all the time. I was a cook for 15 years and an artist for probably... I think I'm finally at the point where I've been an artist longer than I've been a cook, but professional artist, I've got a long way to go. It's great. I love carrots. I was feasting lots of grapes. Yeah, I just got some new grapes in yesterday, and I'm super excited because I love grapes, but they're usually too expensive or just not great around here.
Oh, there's so much sugar in grapes, or at least the perception of sugar is. They're just so sweet.
They are. Dalgor apparently has cherries. I was supposed to go pick those yesterday, and I forgot.
Ooh.
I might have to go do that and make some jam.
Make some jam, have some cherry pie.
Yep. Okay, this is a pretty good rugby. I feel like my lines are about where I want them to be. So we could probably start actually drawing. I eat low salt diet, and sometimes I'm at someone's house and I can't appreciate the food because it's caked in salt. Like, wow. Yeah, Jump Rope and I went to our favorite burrito joint the other day, and both of us were just like, oh my god, there's so much salt in this. Like, it was hard to eat. Like, it hurt my mouth. And I'm like, did somebody fuck up the pico, or has it always been this salty? like they could have just screwed up. And so I was like, do we try it again, or do we just let it be? High blood pressure is usually called by hypernatremia, right? You drink enough water? Probably not. I could probably drink a lot more water. Natremia. I'm not sure what that is. I mean, not drinking enough water can raise your blood pressure. I have a genetic thing that I just discovered, which I didn't know I had. And then I went to the doctor, and he's like, well, does your family have blah, 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 blah? And I was like, I don't think so. And I called them, and they're like, yes, everyone in your family has that. And I was like, oh. So I probably should have been on this medication for like the past 15 years, but I didn't need to be, which is great. That means I was doing okay, but now I need it. So it's just a genetic thing. Father's on the diet at the moment. The entire premise is 3 meals, and that's it. No snacks, just 3 meals. Oof, that would be hard. I like to snack. I sometimes just have snacks for meals. Like I'll just make like cheese and vegetables. That's great. cheese, vegetables, and an apple. That's a good meal for me. I like that. But I also cook a lot. Last night I made cooked up some like taco meat out of turkey, which is really good. I like doing that. And then I mixed it with a bunch of bulgur wheat and then made like lettuce wraps with it. It was really good. Should be pretty healthy. I'm not supposed to do bulgur wheat for other reasons. So that's kind of my problem is I have a whole bunch of things that like, hey, regardless of what you do, you're effed. So have fun with that. So essentially I'm just supposed to eat like tomatoes and that's it. Have a tomato, have an apple, have a banana. That's my new diet. That's my new crash diet is just eat eat one fruit at a time.
Tofu, right?
Tofu is actually, it's not bad for me. It's high in protein, which is good. I think tofu is okay for me. But if I eat too much of it, it can start affecting my kidneys. So that's the problem. So my protein isn't so bad. I just have to be very careful about how much I eat of it.
Right. Yeah, it reminds me of my mom can't absorb a specific type of iron very fast.
Interesting. How do we want to do this? I have 41. I could use like an online digital roller. Just roll like a D41. Yeah. I guess I can do that.
Log into Foundry and just do a /roll whatever sided dice you want.
I'm gonna ask Google to roll a D41 for me.
There you go.
Go. 25. All right. That wasn't as exciting. I like the clickety clack, you know. I like the number rocks.
Yeah.
You know what? I have a better idea. I'm gonna roll because I can. I'm gonna roll 2 d20s and a d4. 2 d20s and a d4. And then if I roll 20, or if I roll 43, 4, or 2, 3, or 4. 42, 3, or 4 will be 1, 2, and 3. That's how we're gonna do it. That's how we're gonna do it. That works out. I guess I could just take things off of the top list. 6 plus 14 is 20, plus 2 is 22. No, that's not right. Yeah, 22. Pretty close. Pretty close. Hope your eye continues to improve. Lizard-themed Warforged Barbarian Brawler Dude. Big, crunchy, and scary. Alright, I like that. Lizard-themed Warforge. We can do that. You guys like Metallica? I used to listen to Metallica all the time. Now, not so much. I mean, like, I don't like them less. I just don't listen to them as much. Oh no, yeah, you gotta love genetics. That's the thing with my eye. I was like, the hell happened? Did I punch myself in the face? Maybe. The doctor's like, no, it's probably just genetic. You probably just have a disposition for eye explosion. I love tofu when it's served as tofu. Tofu as fake meat sucks. Sickle cell traits? I don't think I have sickle cell.
Yeah.
My mother's allergic to apples and soy, and she can't eat 90% of food. There's always somebody worse off than me, so I have to remember that I'm fine. Looks like we're starting with purple today, which is going to be great. I like purple. Purple lizard boy. Yeah, lizard bot rope brawlers. What was the first, like... I bought a Metallica album. I can't remember. Probably the Black Album. Is that right? I used to wear a Metallica sweatshirt, like, religiously. It was the only sweatshirt I owned. Western Justice, hello, hello. Can't drink the tap water because it's cloudy and suspicious. All right, careful with that. When I was in college, one of my apartments had really, really shitty water, so I had to buy all my water from Winco. That was all right. Okay. How can we make this lizard boy super cool? Because there's so many today, I think I might have to stick with... Oh my god, that's so loud. Hold on a second. Okay. My recording studio is right next to my washing machine, so that's fun. Y'all got Brita filters? Yeah, it didn't really help. Didn't really help.
Brita filters only filter certain aspects.
Yeah. Now I have one pretty good water. There's pretty good water here, so that's good. And my fridge has a filter in it, so that's nice. I've moved up in the world since college. Through almost no fault of my own. The music is slightly unsettling and mysterious. It's on the Minecraft channel, so blame Minecraft. I'm probably gonna have to stick to doing mostly portraits today because we have so many. So we'll see what I can come up with to make these characters look cool. Reptile Warforged just makes me think of Dinobots. That's kind of what I was thinking too, and I want to make sure I don't go that direction. Add a character, if so, what about a Fire Jealousy Storm Herald Barbarian with a Pompadour? Did you already add one to the list this week? Because I feel like that's already on the list. No. Okay, yeah, I'll put it on the list for you. Boom. Robot dinosaur man.
Laser raptors.
Laser
They've
raptors.
been extinct for centuries.
God, that movie. Somebody not only pitched that movie, but convinced people that it was a good idea to make and act in.
I mean, it's really good for
It's a meme old time.
schlocky
Yeah.
meme movie. It knew exactly what it was.
Yeah. Which I can respect. But somebody had to walk in and be like, all right, so we're making a movie called shoot, I don't know, Time Cop? Is that what it was?
No.
No.
Wasn't
What the hell do they call it? Hot Fury? Kung Fury, that's right.
Hackermans with the power glove.
Hacked his way
The
back in
keyboard.
time.
That's right. Surfing the keyboard.
Yep.
Met up
joins
with
the Legion of
Jack
Champions.
Thor.
We're in the Viking times. I don't do your list on Sunday anymore. I'm too busy. Don't do your list on Sunday. I usually post them on Monday, so that could be the other thing. You might be posting them on last week's. It's a parody, though. It is, yeah. No, it's great. It's a good movie. It's just like somebody had to go and try to convince people that this was a good idea. And that's the funniest pitch meeting I can think of. Like, Tenacious D even did
Oh yeah.
like HBO specials that were just off the wall. Like, they were bonkers. One of them I think was called Butt Baby. But essentially, like, I feel like that pitch meeting probably went over smoother than than Kung Fury.
Yeah.
Raptor Priest. I haven't heard of that either. Doesn't really matter. Just funny. Just funny to me. Alright, I need to turn this bad boy into a robot.
Well, they also made a game, Kung Fury.
That does not surprise me. I think we're going to start over again. I made some kind of weird dog monster. Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe I need to go back to drawing more rugbies. Did you guys ever see Axe Cop? I think there's a Velociraptor cop in there too.
Triceracop.
Triceracop, that's right.
I love picking up and dialing somebody
Over a
and
reptile.
shooting them through the phone. That was so funny.
That was pretty funny. Yeah, that's an interesting idea, John. I could try that. I think I'm gonna go a little more metal oriented here. That could be a good thing to remember, though. I don't need this to be a lot of dinosaur. It should be a lot of robot. Mecha Godzilla style. I've been doing a lot of sci-fi stuff lately for a couple different projects, and it's just kind of stuck in my head. Just trying to make things look really, really futuristic. And I was like, I don't need to do that. It's a Warforged. It's not a cyborg. They don't have precision milling. Everything's done with magic.
I mean, it could be precision magic milled.
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think I need to worry about like finely matched screws if the magic is just doing things properly, you know. Fasteners, people. Think about fasteners. That's how you design a world.
Yeah.
What holds the world together? In my mind, everything should just be blood magic and duct tape. Blood magic and bones.
Yeah, I mean, how would pulleys change history if it was made back then, right? Crazy.
Because I like to think about we kind of think of D&D as being medieval fantasy, but like we have guns, we have like, if anything, it's almost like postmodern. That's really what we should be, or sorry, pre-modern. Because you have things like, well, you could, yeah, and but my concept is less that it's back in time and more is just things should have kind of come up differently, right? So like you wouldn't have to do the Industrial Revolution if you had magic. Like you just wouldn't. It would happen differently. So how many drawings do you normally get drawn each stream? Usually I get about 7, I would say 5 to 7. So since we have 40, I'm going to try to go a lot faster than that. And it's already 11:40, so that's not great. So that's why I'm going to try to stick to just the busts today. But yeah, so I think that's where I was getting at. It's like you can still have cyborgs, you can still have robots, you can have like finely machined stuff, but the processes are going to be different. Like they're going to look different. You probably wouldn't have a polymerized helmet because you don't need to. You can just make magically infused glass, or just have magic.
Would you even call it glass, right?
Yeah. Can still fulfill the exact same purpose, but I don't think it would be designed the same way as it would today. I like to think that all machinery and like prosthetics is just necromancy.
Yeah. I'm sure from somebody's perspective it is.
Mouth like a steam shovel. There you go. Renaissance-esque to near colonial times, by my thoughts. Yeah, that's probably a better time frame.
Well,
Should not just be the D&D exists in current times and magic conveys material costs for doing things. Maybe the magic comes after, was recovered, and in destruction. Yeah, no, I think that's good. Greyhawk predates Forgotten Realms and is based on post-apocalyptic world following the fall of magical technology. Yeah, and I like that too. Discount Greyhawk. I'm totally fine with the idea that like the Age of Arcanum very much could have been our future.
Or distant past.
Or distant past. Yeah, I like the idea that it's our future, right? So like all D&D in the Forgotten Realms is actually post-apocalypse current state, right? So like you could maybe find an old subway station or something and be like, whoa, this is ancient. It's like, yes.
I mean, it kind of reminds me of the idea of Conan the Barbarian being post-apocalyptic or Kroll being post-apocalyptic.
Yep. And I think that's probably where those ideas in my head always come from, because I love that idea of just of kind of it goes like The Matrix, Mad Max, Conan the Barbarian. It just slowly goes backwards. Making Magitech kind of still is the point of tech in fantasy. I make mechanical rune limbs when you can just regrow limbs. Yeah. I think there's a cool way to look at that too, especially it's one of the reasons I like Blade Runner so much. Because it's very much, it almost negates cyberpunk, because cyberpunk is actually a step backwards from where Blade Runner is. It's like, yeah, you could have cool, sweet robotic limbs, or you could just have biologically enhanced limbs. Why not just do that? You don't have to have the human robot counter connection. Ghost in the Shell, same kind of thing. At what point are our meat suits indifferentiable, whatever, from cybernetics? I really like that concept of trying to figure that out.
Magical meat skeleton.
Yep. And so it's the same thing with magic. Yeah, if you got like a stone mechanical arm, runs on magic, like that's good enough, right? But you could just regrow it too.
I think the term magic is just so broad.
Yeah, I mean, magic is not the same thing in every universe you're writing. And we used to talk about this when we were in design school. Magic is a lazy excuse to not design something. And for a long time, like nanobots replaced magic in stories. Like the stories can be exactly the same. It's like, what is the magic system in your universe? For us currently, the magic system is like Wi-Fi. Like, we have near infinite access to information, which is not mystical to us anymore, but like it used to be a tricorder, right? Like that was the thing everybody wanted. So
sure, I mean, in the probably in the 1700s, the idea of taking a photograph would be witchcraft.
I love the idea of like old tomes or like the magic mirror that could tell you and answer any question. It's like we have that now and nobody cares because it's commonplace, which is great. Like that's perfect. That's how magic shows up, right? People don't understand the technology they're using. And I think that's totally fine. So, not a beef, just an interesting thing to think about from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you are a writer or a creator or you are writing your universe and you can't say where magic comes from, that's bad writing. That being said, you don't have to define how your magic works per se. You do not have to. But you as a writer should know where it comes from. You're creating that universe. Saying that, like, I don't know, It's not good. You don't have to tell your audience, but
Well, yeah.
it can come up to a lot of weird stuff. So even if your answer is, well, this universe is built by these gods and the gods grant power, right? It's like, okay, now we need to answer that larger question, but it's not important to the story, so it's less important. But if the world just, it's like Pokeballs. Like there's so many theories about Pokeballs because they never explain it. They're just like, oh yeah, Pokemon fit in Pokeballs. It's like, hold on a minute, how does that work? Technology.
Yeah.
It's magic.
Or the fact that most Pokemon are actually raised as food.
I like that idea too. It's morbid, but once again, I like it. Think about that stuff. Think about your universe. It's fun. It's fun to kind of posit those things. Don't be lazy. A magical limb could do things your regular arm couldn't. Sure. Those are the questions. Those are the questions you have to answer. To each their own. Is magic like religion IRL as vaguely explanation? Is it a vague explanation for what you don't understand on a technological scale? No, I don't think so. I think religion can be a localized. How do I say this? I think a better analogy would be a doctor doing like a, if people might not know what this is, but like a Da Vinci surgery. Basically, most people don't understand the complexity that has to go into taking a tiny robot arm and doing internal surgery with that. It's just like, it's not on the scope for people's brains to comprehend all the stuff that goes into that. But you believe that it works. The doctor does it and it works, right? So to you, that doctor has magic powers. But the fundamental understanding of where that robot came from and the mechanics behind it, all of that is explainable to somebody. So I don't think it's religion based, but you do have faith in it.
Yeah. So, yeah, that reminds me of the idea of the technology inside Castlevania, for example.
Like the cartoon or the game? Because I don't remember technology
Both.
in the game. Okay.
Both in all reality, because they both kind of mimic each other, right? You have the hunters that ended up researching how to. The end goal was how to kill vampires better, right? But they found out a whole bunch of different things about prior technologies and whatnot. And it ended up being that the vampires were just long-lived creatures, ostensibly post-humanoids, from a bygone era.
Gotcha.
And they developed technology that allowed them to do things that people would think is just mystical.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, well, I'm just doing this, right?
I think a good thing to think about is like Thor in the comics. If you took that at face value, people are like, oh yeah, see, Thor's just an alien. It's like Thor's an alien that has all these crazy technology that you can't explain or understand or how it works. That is not different from the stories of Thor 500 years ago. Right? Like both of those things could exist. Like just because saying something is magical is just a level of simplifying something. So with D&D, to be more specific, you could say, oh, you're manipulating the weave in X ways, right? That's how they describe their magic. Most people, that's too complicated to jump into, so you say, oh, you have magic powers. Like, okay, cool, right? Like, so the word magic is just kind of a good nomenclature because we understand that it's something that is higher level.
Yeah.
I did say that I thought it was really funny. I said this on the internet once, that I thought it was really funny that basically people with PhDs are essentially wizards because they go to train for for like a really long time to be masters of this arcane art. People were not happy about that. They were very upset. They didn't like that at all.
I think they took it the wrong way.
Yeah. Technology and magic are the same thing. Yeah, essentially. I'm afraid I have to go for a bit. Got a meeting at work. No problem, Elvin. We'll catch you later. Poison javelin equal magic. Sure. Wait, I don't understand your fixation on poison javelins, but sure. A new D&D movie creators were afraid of using too much magic and understanding that D&D magic is very limited by class. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I saw the outrage of people being like, "That's not how druids work." It's like, I don't care. Like, and the movies are not video games, and I'm happy about that. And the few times they try to like adhere directly to a video game, it's like it's a different medium. You don't need balancing. It's the same thing like when people get mad at Yu-Gi-Oh for like, well, that's not how the game works. It's like, yeah, but the game is not inherently dramatic enough to make a TV show, right? So I'm okay with it. I'm okay with them flubbing the rules for the D&D movie. I think I haven't seen it yet, but from what I've seen and heard, I think they captured the heart of it, even though it doesn't follow the direct rules of the game. You shouldn't be watching the movie to learn how to play the game, for sure. I like the idea that magic is soul energy. Some people learn how to channel their souls or influence. Yeah, there's some pretty cool stuff. I really like. I really like the way Dresden does it. They have like they take all these different types of like all these different people have different thoughts of where magic comes from, and they all seem to be right, and no one really knows. So I really like that. People get their magic from different places. The movie used D&D Pathfinder. Funny. That would be funny.
Right. This is how I understand this. This is how I understand this. Type of thing.
Pot of Greed is banned IRL?
Are you talking about Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Sure, that could make sense. Yeah, I don't know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I think I'm done with this guy. I'm gonna move on to the next one. Lizard Boy. Okay. 17 plus 6 is 23, plus 2 is 25. There's a lot of lizard folks on this list. Kenku, Path of the Beast Barbarian. When she rages, her body gets bigger and more beast-like. She uses her claws.
We're going to pump you up.
Doop, doop. I'm gonna do 2 drawings per color just so I can not get bogged down with the post. So feel free to keep checking on that post. Beast Barbarian Kenku, huh? That sounds pretty awesome.
But would the Kenku lose all its feathers when it rages?
Depends on what beast, yeah. Also, with their claws, like, are we talking about their feet talons? Do Kenkus have... I guess Kenkus have hands. I like the feather hands, but...
Yeah, I would think that they would have some type of way to hold things, yeah.
But I also like the idea of, like, a kickboxing Kenku. That could be super fun. There were a lot of brawlers. A lot of brawlers and a lot of lizard folks on this list, so we'll see what happens. I feel like I'm going to be drawing a lot of punchy people today.
I mean, I guess they could handle things using their feet talons as main arms, but...
Well, if they're a beast barbarian...
Really weird.
I thought the beast barbarian was a melee, like a... unarmored. Or not unarmored. Unarmed? Yeah, unarmed. Is that not right?
I don't know. Let me check.
Wasn't there that one game system where you are as powerful as you can get everyone else to believe you are? I think so, yeah. I've heard about that. Someone was telling me. Is that what Bards is? Ashley Brown? Got a furry art book at Michael's the other day. I mean, where do you think people shop for their furry costumes? So you can definitely find the patterns for those there too.
I mean,
considering Kenku are flightless, they're probably all talons. I'm a big fan of the Pathfinder Kenku. I don't like the D&D Kenku as much. Because the D&D Kenku really just feels like a werecrow, which is that's cool too, but not the same.
What is this? So,
same.
Path of the Beast Barbarian gives you, when you rage, a bite attack, which it says your mouth transforms into a bestial muzzle or great mandibles of your choice.
So your argument is that they would turn into like a bear and become a werebird.
You gain a claw attack, which transforms your hands into a claw.
Okay. So we essentially have like an
And-
owl bear situation going on here.
And gives you a tail that you can lash at, aka spiky tail. Some description. So you get a you get a bite, claw, and tail attack.
Makes sense. Unarmed fighter. That's all I'm getting at.
I would think that biting would be a crushing damage, though, even though it says piercing.
That's debatable. I mean, crushing isn't a type of damage.
Well, blunt.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So, like, there's a difference.
Yeah.
Are you crushing somebody with spikes, or are you crushing them with a blunt object?
Well, yeah, because it says that bite is going to be piercing damage, claw is going to be slashing, and tail is going to be piercing as well. So I'm like,
Spikes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I've always
yeah.
had that as kind of a weird thing, because it really does depend.
I mean, is a mace blunt or is it piercing?
If it's a spiked mace, I would argue both.
Yeah.
But a bladed mace is not slashing damage, so who knows? Let's look at the resistances. So, like, what is resistance to piercing damage?
In
Undead? Bones?
in Pathfinder or in?
I mean, it's just in general. It doesn't have to be super specific. This is how I would work this out in my head.
Right.
You're looking at something that's resistant to bludgeoning damage. Oozes? Are oozes resistant to piercing damage?
I would think that they would be immune.
So if a bear walks up and bites a gelatinous cube, should it be able to do damage to it? Nom, 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 nom.
Well, because wouldn't that be functionally the same thing as it dividing?
You're getting distracted.
Yeah, I suppose.
The question is a bite piercing or bludgeoning damage? I am not happy with the way this is working out. What have I done? What is wrong with this crow head? Let's get some references. What do birds look like? Ah, they look so cool. The idea that creatures can defend themselves with their mouths have sharp teeth. I don't understand that sentence. The only thing that ticks me off in that book was that they gave female non-mammals. Oh yeah, I mean that's up to the artist. Is when you're drawing a humanoid, question is, are they human first and then animals? Or are they animals first that become anthropomorphic? And that's not a question anybody has to answer. It's just a question you have to ask when you're drawing stuff. Because I do that all the time, and I like drawing boobs. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, so it looks like, generally speaking, the idea behind doing blunt damage is to do more damage to the armor versus piercing is more damage to whatever is past the armor.
Yeah, piercing should bypass the armor. That makes sense. So if you're biting someone in plate mail, the teeth might still go through.
Right, but what is taking the majority of the damage? is the armor taking the damage, or is
So
the flesh taking the damage?
So
right?
you're saying that things that are resistant to piercing damage essentially have thick hides or like hard to penetrate, or do I have that backwards?
I would. No, I think you're tracking. Right?
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, hide is really difficult, but I think that would make sense.
So, because yeah, if you're slashing, I would think like with claws, right? Slashing damage. If you don't have good armor, you're gonna take it. You're gonna take like so. Plate mail should protect against slashing. So hardness should protect against slashing. Crushing damage probably, maces against armor still does damage to you regardless.
Yeah, because it would damage the armor, right? I mean,
Yeah. So is the bite gonna do more damage than a claw would? Yeah, maybe it should be. Maybe it should be blunt damage, but it has teeth, so it can do both. I would say it does both, because even if you have a resistance to one, you're still taking the other, because you're getting both crushing and piercing damage.
yeah. So it'd be you would take the damage of whichever one you're not resistant to.
By that logic, piercing damage should always do some damage, whereas bludgeoning lowers AC and slash bleeds. That is, I've seen some people do a system that way. You have to remember that hit points is not damage taken, and that is important. That is important to do. So.
Yeah, HP is kind of a weird obfuscation of performance.
The amount of damage you can take before you are dealt lethal blows. So really, HP should be looked at as like combat stamina, and damage should really be looked at as tiring somebody out. Yeah, fatigue. So, but they have lethal and non-lethal. Non-lethal damage is basically just wearing you out in a different way. I know that's confusing, but it works. Once again, mechanically, it works, because in the D&D movie, you see people get stabbed. You don't see them just dodging all the time. Maybe they do. I don't know. But like that's a good way to say that I'm glad it's not a video game, I stop and I roll. I have a 1 in 20 chance of this instantly killing you.
Yeah.
You're drawing a halucha? I don't know what that means. Sorry, Cosmic. I have a dilemma, okay? I want to watch your streams, but I also have music on while I draw. I guess what I'm saying is I'm going to need you to sing for me. Yeah, that's not this stream. I would mute the stream and just listen to your own music. Not going to happen. Good try, though. Sounds like a luck system, kind of like Uncharted. Not a fan. I mean, D&D is kind of a luck system. Considering you're rolling dice all the time. Which is funny. I talk to a lot of my friends when I'm doing game design, because I did that for a little while. And I really hate RNG, but like D&D is all RNG. And so it's like, yeah, I know. It's like it's the one time that I'm okay with it. And really, I think part of it's because I do a lot of stuff where I don't have to worry about RNG. Except for like mainly attacks, and I generally try to build my character so that I hit more often than I do lots of damage. For that reason, it's like I try to mitigate RNG as much as possible in my builds. And in a lot of the games I design, I very much like you hit. Like I would rather deal with mitigation and shielding, armor, like those kind of things versus chance to hit. It's just like make it skill based and make it a hit be a hit. So yeah. Kenku. Should Kenku have boobies? Maybe. I say so. They're technically people.
I would say at the very least they have huge pecs. Fly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Although if they were going to be raging, would they be able to fly at that point?
You don't have to concentrate to fly, so I'd say yeah. I'd say so. You can angrily dive bomb people. I'd absolutely allow that. I'm learning a 3D model for VR. Nice. It's super fun. I used to do that. I did a lot of texturing, and the thing I was really good at was UV unwrapping, but partially because nobody else in my class wanted to do it. So then that actually got me one of the jobs I worked at the university. I was doing the salmon simulations and visualizations. I made a butt ton of textures. And somewhere on the internet, you can find a free Unity asset of trees and rocks that I made. Because they had to be I was going to say open source, but that's not the right term. Because they were made by the university, they had to be free to the public. So, because it was funded through the National Science Foundation. So that's out there somewhere. It's probably not any good. That was like 10, 15 years ago. Public domain, yes, thank you. Bird people need big sternums. Yeah. I'm assuming Kenkus can fly in Pathfinder. Yeah, they can. They have hands on the end of wings. So when they, like at level 1, they're not great at it. They can like float without falling, taking fall damage. And then at like level 3 or 5, they can start flying better.
Yeah. One of those things that you just don't want to think about in all reality. But how does hand at end of wing work?
I mean, it's closer to bats than anything else, so I don't care.
Agreed.
Lore-wise, they can't. Interesting. Yeah, like straight up, it's all mechanical stuff. Like you have to look in feats and stuff to take. But once again, Kenku, depending on how you're looking at it, are either werebirds or the Aarakocra don't make any goddamn sense. That's all I'm saying. Because like as much as hands on wings, that doesn't make any sense. Why would someone else automatically have hands and wings? Like both. It's just like no, that's too many limbs. It's too many limbs.
I mean that's just not how bones work.
So the Aarakocra drive me a little crazy.
I mean, and then you have what's that other class? I want to say they're harpies, but they're not harpies.
Oh, the Strix, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Strix are great. They straight up just have wings and no hands. Or both, depending on which issue you're looking at. They either don't have hands at all or they have back wings. And I'm not a fan. I mean, I actually really like the Strix for sure. They're essentially more owl people. Or harpy people, depending on what you're looking at.
Right.
Which I very much like both. But I like them having hands. I don't think female Kenku would need not a were raven if they're not were ravens. It makes more sense that they would run into ravens like humans. Yeah, so that's the thing you have to look at, because I think I'm probably more famous for drawing weird animal creatures than I am for anything else on the internet. And you always have to think about that. If you want to like start with a bird, I'm just gonna draw a big fat pigeon, and then make it a person. Like it's gonna be way more bird-like, and just kind of like I am tall bird, creepy. But if you start with a person and then give them bird traits, you know they're gonna have. It's always that balance of like how much animal is building on which type. Like, do you want very animalistic? Do you want very humanoid? And so when people are like, why would that have boobs? It's like, why would it have big, beefy man shoulders? Like, why wouldn't it just have weird, creepy bird shoulders? So right. everything you're putting in there is just, it's all up to the artist to decide how much of that you want to put in there. And I never had a problem with being like, that's stupid. That doesn't make sense. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If it looks cool to you, great. If it doesn't look cool to you, That's fine. I'm very upset about the Final Fantasy elephant people.
The Luxon?
No, the Luxodon are great. Final Fantasy elephant people was lazy design because they just took the Giga bodies, which look like this. They got tiny little legs and huge bodies and tiny little heads. They're like, I'm a rock giant. You're like, hey, that's fun. They're like, what if we put the elephant head on this? And instead of someone being like, yeah, let's put an elephant head on this that makes it look like an elephant, they're like, yeah, what if we just put the tiny ears and the trunk on it? It's like, that, what the fuck did you just do? This is bad. This is bad, lazy design, and it makes me so mad. Don't get worked up over people. Just let it happen. It's fine. It's not your design. There's no reason. Unless you have like you know somebody and you can change it, just don't be mad about it. Make your stink on the internet if you have to, but don't lose sleep over it. That's really all I'm getting at. Don't lose sleep over it. I feel like I've drawn a Skeksis. Give him a cool little totem necklace here. I feel like if you're a Kenku barbarian, you would just collect every shiny thing you could find and put it on a chain. I would. Alright, we're gonna move on to the next one. Aarakocra with hands are literally only a 5e thing. Yeah. If your wings are on... Oh, wait. If your hands are on with their wings, you can't shoot a bow while flying. Correct. Yeah. That is a choice that I think people have to make. And I usually ask people that. It's like, okay, so if you want to play a Kenku, do you have hands? Do you not have hands? How are we doing this? If you don't want hands, I'll give you the full wings. Or if your hands are on your wings, I'll let you fly. Like, that's fine. That makes sense to me, right? Like, you have a full pair of wings that are your arms. You can't shoot a bow while flying. That's the trade-off.
Right.
And I think that's smart. I think that's a smart discussion to have with your players. Because flight in D&D is really fun. It's super fun. To be honest, I bet you have a disadvantage on attack rolls. That could be interesting, too. Or like when the other thing I've done is if people have to do something like that, they basically lose 10 feet of height when they shoot. Because like you're stopping for a second and just kind of like momentum takes you for a little bit. For that moment that you shoot. 16 plus 4 is 23. Sorry, 16 plus 4 plus 3. I skipped the last one. Let's go with a spear or a sword wielding satyr fighter. Nice. CTR! Endpoint. We're going to red. We are going to red. How's everybody going? Did anybody get weird ads jumping into the stream today? I've turned off most of the ads. So we are currently looking for a sponsor. If you'd like to sponsor a stream, let me know and I'll put your name up on the top right of the screen. Be like, thank you, you're awesome. But hopefully nobody is getting any weird ads. Lots of satyrs recently. Yeah, Druid used to draw them all the time, and I think because of that people didn't suggest them, and now people miss it. So a speared satyr. I like that. We're gonna go for that.
A satyr dragoon.
Yeah. I got a weird ad. Sorry about that. Could you just draw a lore appropriate satyr? Sure, but only from the waist up.
Yeah, because they don't wear clothes.
Do you want the YouTube satyr with the legs, or do you want the lore appropriate one with the giant sensor bar?
No, you can't do censored bars anymore. That implies things.
Uh-oh, I can't have implied nudity anymore?
No. Just has to be like steam that you can't see through. At least that's what they keep telling me anyway.
Gotcha. They got a spear. I could make the spear fully erect, I suppose. I don't think that's how that works. The precedence for feet archfey is a thing. The precedent for feet... I don't understand that. I don't understand that, Cosmic. What do you mean by that? Or maybe it was a joke and I missed it. I'm sorry. Mechanically, I like is I'm trying to read 4 sentences at once. As mage hunters? That could be fun. Just fey tieflings? Yeah, I think they're just fey tieflings. But why would they be mage hunters? That's a cool concept. I think you could definitely play a satyr as an... But is there something that you think in the lore would make them good at it, or like predispositioned for it? Predisposed? There we go, predisposed. I want a good mage hunting class. 5e doesn't have a lot of like counterspell, dispel magic shenanigans in core classes, and I think that would be a really cool, really fun thing to try. Archery using talons and Aarakocra is already a thing. Archery. Wait, did I read that as archfey instead of archery? Is that what happened? No. Oh, they're magic resistance. Really? I didn't know that. Do they have the same thing as the gnomes? Or is it just... Because, like, in Pathfinder, the drow have just magic resistance, so there's a % chance that they just spells fail, which is super powerful, and I think that's why they got rid of it in 5e. But I could definitely see that being a good addition. Because right now the gnomes, like, I get a plus to wisdom saves and stuff. It's pretty cool. Kind of, yeah. Interesting. I have one of the D&D 2. Same resistance as Yuan-Ti. Okay.
Remember to drink your water.
I can do that. I can do that. Satyrs got banned because of that trait. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that.
Which trait?
Some kind of magic resistance?
I mean, wouldn't a lot of things have magic resistance, though?
How's it worded? Because I don't know the verbiage for it. If the Yuan-Ti had it as well, then it seems like that would be a known issue. Because they didn't come out at the same time. So many tables ban a lot, even though they've been reworked. Ranger totally banned, like upset it's functional now. I never thought Rangers were bad. We've talked about this a lot, so I don't want to go into it too far, but like I feel like Rangers were played wrong.
Yeah.
basically like the games weren't set for people to play rangers, and so now that they've gotten the boost to make them more versatile in all situations, they feel a little overpowered, especially if you go like the Gloomstalker build is so good. It's so good. It can still be completely shut off by certain situations, but it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. They had immunity to something. Not PCs.
Well, yeah. I mean, whenever you're talking about a PC playing any type of a monster, you don't really want to use the monster block.
Yeah. Actually, I just found a book at a game shop over the weekend. That's the 3.5 or 3.0. What's it called? Let me look. Savage Species, playing monster creatures. Playing monster characters. It's for 3.0, and it's essentially just like they're like, okay, so here's all the stat blocks for monsters and how you would play them if you wanted to. And like I remember seeing this book when I was way younger and being like, oh my god, this is amazing. And that's like I made a troll race at the time, the first time I saw the book. But yeah, like playing the stat block is one way to go, and so you can do that, but it is rough. Monster feats are no joke. They're no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yonti had immunity to poison. Okay, yeah, I don't think that's bad though.
Yeah, I mean, there are.
Yeah.
I want to say 90% of all of D&D is in some way resistant or immune to poisons, which.
Yeah, 5e's.
Why it's not great.
Yeah, 5e's poison system is bad. Excuse me. Woo! I was not ready for that.
Bless you.
Thank you. Satyrs are the only ones that have straight up magic resist advantage on saves versus magic. I think gnomes have saves versus charm, I think. So that's very specific magic resistances.
I mean, I wouldn't see why that couldn't be a trait of a creature, right?
Yeah.
Being resistant to magic.
Getting advantage on base things is always kind of powerful. Those are bad poison system. Yeah, right?
Yeah, 5e is just really bad for poison resistance.
We were looking at 2e's poison system as well, and it's really bad. And I think what happened is they added it in, and then they changed the crafting system and forgot to update the poisons. So I'm hoping with Pathfinder's new books, they're going to change some of that stuff, because they're re-releasing the compendium with all of the updates. They probably won't, but I like poisons, but poisons really should be they need to be looked at and reworked.
I thought the poison system was done a lot better in Pathfinder 1.
It was, yeah.
Pathfinder 2.
The downside to Pathfinder 1 was cost. So
yeah,
because like to make one dose of poison could cost you like the fourth of a cost of a magical weapon.
Right.
And so it's like, why would I buy one thing of poison when I can just get like a +1 dagger of flame? They do the same amount of damage. So yeah, essentially you have to look at it, and like the alchemists and the rogues could make it free. And so it's like, okay, they're supposed to do that. That's great. And so it was fine to like not let everybody use poisons. But then in second edition, they revamped the way gold works, so everything's like a tenth of the cost that it used to be. Except for poisons. Poisons are the same price. So now all of a sudden, poisons that were already too expensive are now 10 times more expensive. And it's like, that's not right.
Kind of an oversight.
I think it's an oversight, yeah. Greek sculpture is amazing.
Because I remember the last Pathfinder 1 game that I played in, I don't know if it was a GM house rule or not, but had different types of poisons, right?
Yeah.
Like an immobilizing poison or a numbing poison.
Yeah. So Pathfinder, that is Pathfinder's system. Pathfinder has, so essentially they have Black Adder Venom, I think, does a D6 of damage, right? So that's kind of the standard one that everyone wants to use. Or like that's the one that I was basing that price off of. And then from that, you also had numbing poisons. You had poisons that basically like you give it to somebody and then they die in like a day. You have poisons. The thing that made for 5e, the reason that poisons kind of stopped making even more sense is that all of the poisons you could get with Pathfinder were like constitution damage. Do you want to do a d6 of permanent wisdom damage or a d3 of temporary damage? And that would make the poison cheaper, right? So it's like there were severities of it too. So you could have Black Adder Venom or like Purple Drake Venom that did 4d6 damage. So it was a really complex system, which was a lot of fun, but it was super expensive and only really useful for a very handful of builds. So it was a ton of build up for, very niche builds anyways. Poison prices are too high to play Poisoner class. Exactly, yeah. Like, so with Pathfinder, the Poisoner classes could kind of make their own, but you really had to finagle it anyways. So it was kind of a broken system. And in D&D, they're like, what if all poisons just give you disadvantage? It's like, that's boring and doesn't make any sense. But they had to do that because they got rid of all of the persistent stat damage and stuff. Like, they got rid of it, and it's not a thing. So the poisons stopped making sense. They also had poisons that were like ingested poisons or harm poisons. Some of them you could inhale and stuff like that. So it was a pretty good system.
Starfinder had some dogs that had effectively rabies.
Oh yeah. You can get fleas from goblin dogs. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. Delayed onset.
Mummy rot is another good one.
We affectionately referred to mummy rot as the clap.
There was like I think you could get leprosy from somebody in one of the Pathfinder games. You get leprosy, which is like, that's horrible.
Right? Easily treatable.
Okay. So I'm not going to give you the full Monty. Actually, don't know where that comes from. I'll have to look that term up later. Don't Google that, people. I'm not going to give you guys the full shebang Seder. But
Seder is not at attention.
Yeah. We'll do some more little details here. Hello, magical artist people. Brother Malachi, hello, welcome in. How are you today? I'm not digging this pose anymore.
Yeah. So the etymology of the full Monty is very interesting.
Is it appropriate for YouTube?
A lot of it is. Some of the theories are not.
I think in my mind it had something to do with burlesque shows or strip clubs.
So that is in the not category.
Yeah, I think okay. So that's where I would, let's say, draw the line. Maybe we don't talk about it, but
yeah. So yeah.
Nudity, people. It refers to nudity.
Some would theorize that.
Some would theorize that.
Ultimately, the origin is unknown, but it happened in the 1970s.
All right. I really want to build a short spear. Or a long spear, I guess. And just use it for, like, exercise. That'd be fun. I should go find, like, a HEMA group. Is that what it's called? Historical something reenactment? Roleplay reenactment?
You mean a LARPing group?
Well, no, a LARPing group is like, let's play D&D in real life. A HEMA group is like, they teach you how historical fencing worked. Like, it's more of like a sport than a role-playing thing. It's still totally role-playing, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
They still have mock battles, but, like, it's supposed to be... It's less about you throwing fireballs at somebody and, like, this is how you would do this with a sword and shield. And, like, it's a point system.
I recognize the distinction and difference, but still would say that they're the same.
I think it's closer to boxing than theater. How's that? But I also think wrestling is closer to theater than boxing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about WWE. It's like, And then that got me thinking of American Gladiators.
Yeah, I think all these things exist. Once again, no shade. I'm less interested in LARPing than I am in learning how to properly hit somebody with a spear.
Ninja Warrior.
Man, if I were 20 again, I would definitely try to be on Ninja Warrior. That'd be so much fun.
Oh yeah.
If we get 100,000 subscribers, I'll build a Ninja Warrior thing in my backyard.
Those things are super expensive.
Oh yeah. I say that. I would probably just be like, literally like a monkey bars. And like a rock wall. Put up a rock wall.
Monkey bars and a rock wall would be more than
so awesome.
enough.
If I was under someone and did repelling blast, would it launch them into the air? Technically yes. I would say yes. With the caveat that you can't occupy the same space as somebody for that reason. And also, they would fall up to 60 feet in a turn, so if you launched them up in the air, they would land on you and you'd have to make a reflex save or get hit by them and take half the fall damage.
You would also potentially be deaf.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. So would I allow it? Absolutely. Would it be exactly what you wanted? Probably not. I'm down. Like that's what I tell my players all the time. Like, I'm down if you are, but like, let's see what happens.
I am definitely a fan of that. Sure. But
Here we go.
these are the potential consequences of the
I
we're about to take.
I took the hell was it called? A horn of blasting? I think it was a horn of blasting. I took a horn of blasting and I tackled a guy and blew it into his face. Like, point blank range. Horn of blasting.
Oh, no.
And it blew up. And Lars is like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I if I were you, I would take half of this damage. Like, I just would. And then he was like, all right. I'm like, here we go. I think it killed me. But it was still pretty great. I want to hug the Saner, don't know why. Be careful.
Went off with a bang.
Yeah, went off with a bang. It was pretty great. Lars tried to show us how cool this vault was that was just full of magical shit, and we took it. And he's like, "What?" But I was just like, oh, well, you showed it to us, and now it exists in the world, and now it's ours. So I tried to just use it up, and I was like, I'm just gonna use this horn until something explodes, and it instantly blew up in my face, quite literally. It was fun. It was a good time. Okay, there's my satyr with a spear. I want to give him more tattoos, but I'm not great with tattoos. It's something I'm gonna have to spend some time on and like get better at. That looks like he has gills. Let me get rid of that. I think that's it. I think that's where we're going to call this one, though. We'll give his little horn some more detailing. Nice. Okay, cool. Let's roll some more dice. What are we down to here? Concerning repelling blast. If you also have Eldritch Invocation that pulls targets closer to you, you can theoretically push someone off a cliff and then pull them back, grinding them into the rocks. Yeah, I guess so. If you can cast it twice in a turn. The other option thing with that is per the rules, people can fall really far, so I don't know. I guess Eldritch Blast has like a 120-foot range, right? So you might be able to do that in 2 rounds. 15. Creature 2 sizes smaller or smaller than other can occupy the same space. Goblin Repelling Blast, Misty Step. So it would have to be a large-sized creature if you're a small goblin.
Or a halfling.
Or a halfling, yeah.
With this specific trait.
They technically go off at the same time. Oh, do you get 2 shots of Eldritch Blast?
I believe that it's based upon your level.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of projectiles.
Black Maine Coon style tabaxi cryomancer wearing a polished military uniform. Using the knife trick like an ice spell. Or wait, I read that wrong. Using a knife trick with the ice knife spell. Okay. I don't know what Polish military uniforms look like, but I'm only doing the top half anyways, so we'll draw a big old fat cat.
5e Eldritch Blast is a beam weapon, by the way.
It's a beam weapon?
Yep.
Pew!
The spell creates more than 1 beam when you reach higher levels. 2 beams at 5th level, 3 beams at 11th level, and 4 at 17th.
So they do invocations together at the same time. Okay.
You
So
can
basically...
direct the beams... Go ahead, sorry.
No, so I was going to say, like, essentially, they would just hit at the same time, so you'd have to choose. Yeah, I don't know how I'd do that. That would be interesting. If you wanted to push and pull somebody. I would think that at the same time, you would push them off the cliff and then pull them back onto the cliff. Pulling them into the rocks just seems superfluous in that situation. If not, it would actually give them another save to not fall. So, that's a little...
A beam of crackling energy.
Safe for work to Nuki guy.
Damage.
Eldritch Blast gives more shot rather than higher damage per shot. Okay. Let's see if I know how to draw a giant cat.
Serpentine.
Anytime someone is knocked off of a cliff, regardless if they're a player or a PC, they get a save to not fall off. Because instant death is stupid.
Yep. Yep. Just hope that you're not a druid and you turn into a goldfish.
Yeah. Oh, the hubris. The hubris of one young Marisha Ray.
I mean, we're basically all just gods, right? No, Grog, apparently we're not.
Pixel definitely has this face. He's not as big. He's a pretty big cat. He's a not fat 15 pound cat. Yeah, Brother Malka, I'm not sure where that's coming from. Is that like a character idea, or is that a... I don't get the reference. How am I going to turn this giant cat into a cryomancer?
I have several inappropriate ways. But...
Have you been like doing not safe for work commission work for the last month or something?
No.
Are you writing like a hentai anime?
No.
Okay.
But I immediately thought of those signs at zoos with.
Please don't boink the animals. What signs? What signs are we talking
Yeah,
about?
don't stand behind cats.
I don't know this. Do they spray you?
They urinate backwards.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, I don't know if all of them do, but the one that I was specifically thinking of does.
It's been a while since I've been to a zoo.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I went to a zoo. I wonder if the zoo over there in Seattle is still open.
I assume. Yeah, I think so. Or at least it was a year ago. When my friends went and invited me and I just didn't go. I have just drawn a big cat.
Oh, they are open daily.
Yeah, I don't have any plans to go to the zoo.
Yeah. How much are a ticket? You do not list ticket prices on your website. That is not a good sign.
All right, how do we make this? You think a saber-toothed cat would make him look more icy?
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking about what you were saying about the vampire stuff in Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
In the Netflix anime thing, they were very much like, oh yeah, Dracula is this weird old alchemist from some other time who can open a portal to hell. It's just like, hold on a minute. That second part, I need to figure out the second part. I guess he had like interdimensional travel.
Yeah. So, from what I recall, the term was used for both vampires as well as humans, but they ultimately meant different things.
Oh, so in like the humans have vampires as a story, and Dracula just happened to fit that mythos? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha.
So think of it very similar to the idea behind the missionaries in Dune, where they took the opportunity to weave them into the mythos that already exists.
Okay. What's being drawn? We're drawing a Maine Coon Ice Cryomancer. The big cat boy. Nice. I'm not sure, Cosmic, what a Polish suit army uniform looks like. If you want to post a reference in the Discord, I can add a hat or something, but I'm not sure what else to add for this guy. Maybe like a parka? Maybe he's got a parka. Would a cryomancer need a parka, or are they immune to ice? Immune to cold.
I don't think that they're immune, but they would definitely be resistant, I would think. Not sure.
I'm gonna give him a big old parka. Might be decor, because it looks nice.
Hmm.
Should I post? The Discord, live stream chat should be right above the. Should be a live stream chat, text channel, which I'm not in. I'm sorry if anybody's been hanging out in there and I haven't responded. That's my bad. Voice channel cat. Hash Brown posting the owl stuff. I like it. I appreciate that. Wing arms. Yep, there you go. See? Kenku are just dinosaur people. Sorry about the ignoring chat. Ashy Brown. That's my bad.
Yeah, I don't see any resistances to cold.
I thought wizards, as if they went the specialist route, do they get that? Maybe that's a Pathfinder thing again. If you specialize in one type of magic.
Well, I'm only looking at 5e.
Yeah, so I might just be thinking of a Pathfinder thing.
Yeah.
As I normally do. Oh, that's a big round hat. Shoot. And a very small picture. How can I add this? Can I add that hat? We'll do this. Sorcerers can do that. Oh, sorcerers can do that. Okay. Well, now I made him look like One Piece.
Which, functionally speaking, is very weird for 5e. For them to not have some kind of an innate resistance.
Wizards?
No, cryomancers.
Hmm. Well, I have asked the hat, but I'm pretty happy with everything else.
Yeah, all it's saying really is that you have an affinity for cold.
Interesting. Interesting.
I mean, other than, 5th level, you ignore difficult
Nope, hate it.
terrain as a result of ice or snow. Or vision impairing effects.
I was thinking of a Ushanka? I don't know what that is either. Is that a different kind of hat? I don't really like this hat. I'm going to get rid of it. I like this Catboy, though. I want to make him a little more icy, and then I think we're... Actually, you know what? Hold on a second. Maybe not. Whoa, what did I do? Oh, I have the pencil, not the brush. There we go. Hold on a second. I'll be right back. I gotta take this.
Oh.
Okay, we're back. Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Okay. Do we give them a big poofy hat? Let's do it.
I'd almost think that they would be having like a beret or something. But big poofy head is fine.
And then we'll draw the next one real quick here. How's everybody's week going? Wednesday. Halfway through. Halfway through. That's all right. I didn't really have any good ideas to make him look like a cryomancer, so the hat was a good call. Poof. All right. I think that's good. I think that's what we're going to call it. Let's get the next one going. If anybody would like to become the sponsor of the show today and get their name written on the board, let me know. I will do such. 14. Amatha is a blue dragonborn conquest storm herald paladin. Is the conquest paladin and the storm herald paladin two different subtypes? Do you get two subtypes? Have I just never played D&D above level 10? Is that what's going on?
Lots of people really haven't played that high.
Do you get two subtypes?
I don't think so.
This is a long description. Hold on a second. His spiritual weapon is the ghost of his missing arm holding a sword. That's a bit of information to drop at the end. Dragonborn, blue dragonborn, conquest, storm herald, paladin. Storm herald is a barb. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Paladin barbarian. Okay, that makes sense.
We've got a multi-class here.
Yep. I would have probably said conquest paladin / storm barbarian to make that more clear, but also my brain just doesn't work, so it's fine. Blue, red. Color. All right, we're going back to purple. So a lightning dragon knight with a floating sword. Something like that. Special about blue dragons. I can't remember. Do they have fins? Oh. What's happening? There we go. YouTube took a poop. Begin from the gas pump. How's it going? It's going pretty well. How are you doing today? I remember if blue dragonborns are the scaly ones or the one with the fins. I don't know. Making me wonder. I want to make a human paladin oath of the crown in full crusader armor called Richard. I assume that's something I don't get. Is that a history joke? It might be a history joke. Semi-aquatic. Sailhorn thing. Okay, that's what I thought. I'm gonna give him kind of the weird beak. Richard the Lionheart. I'm Lich Man. There's definitely been enough people that are playing Robin Hood, so I think you could definitely get away with it. Okay, so this arm is a magical weapon. Leave a bit of a gap. I think we've looped the playlist, so I might switch to something else. Let's see what else we got. That's not bad. Let's see where that goes. Imagine if you could smite on a spiritual weapon. You mean smite with a spiritual weapon?
Technically no. Well, not D&D rules.
Because the smite requires a melee weapon, right?
It requires you to physically touch the weapon.
Ah. Range smite, yo. Bring it back.
Yep. So you can't even cast smite on a weapon and then huck the weapon. Smite wears off.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd allow that.
I'd allow it too. Although technically, I guess you could smite with your fists.
Yeah, I've allowed that too. What's your favorite D&D class? I really like fighter and cleric. Those are probably my two favorites. They're very versatile. I keep trying to make bards in 5e, and I never really enjoy them to where I think I will. But I always try to make like jugglers or magicians or something. It's just not complex enough for that. Cat, what is this shenanigans I'm hearing behind me? What's going on? Whoa! Okay, that was weird. Yeah, they seem fine. Spoken about this before. Prior, no range, no unarmed raw. Yeah, I disagree with it, so I would always allow it in my games.
Don't forget to stretch.
Yeah, I just got up and stretched. I'll do it again though. Sit up straight.
I have to remind myself of that constantly.
Yeah. Pixel got into something yesterday and was just like itching like crazy, which he does neurotically, so he's just predisposed to it. But yesterday he was scratching real bad, so I was like, I'm just gonna give you a bath. And like I winded myself. It's like I am so out of shape trying to bathe the cat. So I gotta. Yeah. It's been 2 weeks since my. I guess it's been almost 3 weeks now. 3 weeks now since my surgery. And the doctor's like, no exercising, like do nothing. And so I'm finally, tomorrow will be the day when I can finally go back to working out again. Hopefully I'll be able to pick it up and do something good. 2 weeks of not doing nothing.
Free weights.
Yeah. Hopefully. Problem with allowing ranged smites is now rangers don't have a place in combat that a druid doesn't do better. I mean, that's always kind of been the problem with rangers. They're not optimized for damage.
Yeah, they're a utility class.
Yep.
Much like druids originally were supposed to be. Or at least my impression of the original druids was a utility class.
Yep. I've also had a few people play ranger that the way they wanted to play them was really just a ranged paladin, which I think makes a lot of sense. So I totally let them do that.
Oh yeah, you in my mind you could sanctify arrows. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Cosmic, I think we're gonna have to agree to disagree on this. It's not. I don't think it's a fight worth bringing up anymore. But I love Rangers. Rangers are great. Not my favorite class, but they're fun.
I mean, lots of people say the same thing about monks too, right?
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
I mean, I understand the idea that monks are not monks in 5th edition are not optimized for max damage dealing or anything.
Yeah, I mean, in 5e, I really think monks are melee brawlers. Like, they're supposed to be kind of tanky, kind of damage dealy. They have evasion. Like, there's all kinds of stuff they get that is kind of weird. Highly mobile.
Yeah,
like
they're like a In my mind, a jack of all trades, right?
In my mind,
You're
they're
able
just
to
they're
fill
so
in
yeah. They're
whatever is diminishing.
yeah. I think they're a little overtuned in that department because like they basically fill every role. And then all of a sudden there's like, oh, I'm not doing the most damage. It's like, yeah, it's because you're also the tank and the healer.
Right? You have to pick. Can't be everything all
Yeah.
at once. Oh, but isn't that what a monk is? No.
That's my problem with sorcerer and warlock is like if you want to pick an arcane archer, which is great, that is a good way to do it. But like essentially, regardless of what you want to do, if you're a damage dealer, you be a sorcerer or a warlock. Just do it. Like that's the answer to everything. Monks also aren't the best class for doing what they're designed for. Yeah, and that's the thing with like the same thing with rangers. It's like I think rangers were designed for something very specific, and people don't play them that way. Monks should be designed. I think they should be very specified. And instead they're like fighter, rogue, brawler tanks, and it's like this is really weird. Like you really need to be able to distinguish damage armor from monks in Pathfinder used to require basically every stat, and that was the challenge. Like you had to have really good stats to play a good monk because you had to trade off your key usage with your wisdom and your charisma had to be pumped up, and then you needed strength or dexterity depending on what weapons you were using. And then if you were a tech, you needed constitution. So you basically need all the stats except for int. And it's just it's bonkers. And now it's just like, I don't know, I'll do whatever. Stack wisdom, sure, why not? That'll give you your armor and your damage and everything else. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, in Pathfinder, different skills required you to be in different stances too, right?
No, the stances were different. The stances were just basically your feat tree. Whatever feat tree you were picking, you would just build that direction. So it was really more of like a paragon than anything else. They didn't really have the necessity of stances. So that was just when you got a monk feat, you're like, I'm gonna take this stance, and now my punch is always stun. It's like, fuck. Like they got really powerful. But the trade-off was like having to have all of these stat requirements. And in 5e, they simplified it to a point where I feel like monks are just generally good, like around the board, but they don't hit super hard unless you really spec into them, which is fine. So, love the Thryken. Thryken are great. I don't really want super optimized characters. Fun, I think, matters more. As long as at least hang out with the party. Yeah, I mean, for me, it doesn't really matter what character you're playing, which is probably why I DM all the time. I just want to hang out with people and tell fun stories. So, I got a little annoyed with my rogue player last week. Because they said, what are they doing? They took all these feats to be really high damage. And then they also are doing all these things. I'm like, man, how are you getting such good rolls? And like, I looked at their stats and they have like 18, 17, 14, 14, 14. And I was like, okay. This is a little shenanigans going on here. Stunning Strike runs into issues also needing 2 stats to function. Yeah. And I think that's been one of people's big complaints in the 5e is just like, Stunning Strike isn't effective enough. It's like, yeah.
It's situational.
Situational.
And it's meant to be.
Why can't I stun the boss? It's like, because it's the boss. Like, that's normal. I just want to punch this dragon infinitely into the ground. It's like, all right.
Because stuns are very powerful.
They're very powerful in 5e.
I do think that they should hit more often if you're actually using the key. But
yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff you can do to tweak the monks to make them feel a little better. But it really just depends on what you're trying to do. I do think they need to fall into one thing a little harder. But that's kind of just my own gripe.
Yeah. 5e monks just seem very generalist, which honestly is not a bad thing. I mean, yep. I love playing a generalist.
Mm-hmm. It's the same thing with rangers. I think you can build them that way, and I like that. I like that kind of aspect of them. Suplexing the dragon is more fun. Wouldn't you rather have something that's harder to do rather than something combat breaking? Yeah, I'm not a big min-maxer. I like to specialize. Like, I'll make a fighter that's good at jumping. like that's fun. I like to specialize in, like, my character's going to do this all the time. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of, like, totally maximizing the game because I do like a little bit of challenge. I don't want my only solution to be the only solution, or my go-to solution to be the only solution for the game.
Right. I think that's what a lot of newer game masters really seem to overemphasize the fact that, well, the book doesn't say this, so I can't do it. It's like, but that's not the thing you should have taken from the initial chapter on how to GM.
Yeah, I think you can learn your way out of that one, right? Like, there's very much like understanding the rules, and then once you understand the rules, you can kind of get around that stuff more easily. But until you really have a firm grasp on it, like, oh, the book doesn't say that. I get that.
Sure.
that lean in. But yeah, I think that's just experience.
Sure. I do unfortunately also see a lot more people that are Adventure League onlys.
Yeah. And that's okay too.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. Like, if you're gonna play an Adventure League, then, like, there's no reason to complain about it, because, like, that's the rules you agreed to play with by, and that's the game. And if you don't like that, like, definitely try to find a different player. We can't find another party. It's like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, like, you're playing with people, maybe they also want to start a new campaign. You never know. It's worth asking if that's the problem you're having.
Yeah, or the exact opposite from, I don't want to use the term, but effectively rules lawyer players.
Adventure League is bad. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think Adventure League is just it's a style of play that I don't enjoy. But like I said, some people, like, that's their only outlet for D&D, and that's okay. 5e is maybe not the best system for that because it is so simple, but once again, if you're trying to get into D&D, it's still good to learn that way. And then once you know the rules, you can start saying, hey, you know what, let's change the rules a little bit and play our own game.
Right.
I've had a lot of people jump into D&D and just like, okay, cool, we're gonna do this huge campaign that I just wrote. It's like, have you ever DM'd before? Like, no. It's like, don't write a 6-month-long campaign until you know how long a session lasts, right? One of my players last week, like, so how many sessions do we have left in this campaign? I'm like, somewhere between 2 and 40. I don't know. Like, depends on what you guys do. And sure enough, I was like, okay, this could be the end of the campaign right here. And they were like, no, we're gonna go dive into this dungeon. I'm like, okay, that's gonna add like 4 more sessions to this campaign then, if you're gonna go into that dungeon. That's how my DM styling works. So yeah. Okay, I think I'm about done with this lizard boy. I hope people can see that he's missing an arm. Maybe I should make it a little more blue. I can make it a little more blue. What if we did this? Yeah, I think the chat went a little bit into the weeds, so I'm gonna go ahead and just let the subject kind of change. Because, like I said, it's not worth talking about, which we just did for like 20 minutes, which I'm a little upset about, but that's fine. I think rangers and monks are just really down to your playstyle and your game. If you want them to be something they're not, that's sorry, that sucks. Change them.
Players, talk to your GMs.
Yep, Dr. GM. What were we doing? Purple? I think we still had purple for this one. Okay. Let's roll some dice.
But I want to play a purple worm who's a
I'd like
barbarian.
I have no problem with that. 11. An artificer gnome who uses a magical mech to look like human. Like, is that just... Do they just have the normal human head and then a robot body?
Are they piloting like Krang?
Yeah, there's a lot that could go on there. Goblin asks, "What's your opinion on black powder weapons?" Thumbs up. I don't know. I've never disallowed. Yeah, I've never disallowed weapons in any of my games. Pathfinder had a really good system for them, which they've removed. They're still good. They're still good. They're essentially different kinds of crossbows. Mechanically, they're very similar now. So
Makes sense.
because I liked in Pathfinder they had the touch AC system, so guns were effectively had you couldn't miss. It was really hard to miss with like a musket or something, but because it just bypassed armor, and that was neat and all, but it was complicated. It was a complicated system that really you only did a very handful of situations, and it only worked on like 2 or 3 people. So I think the gunslinger in 2E still has some of the cool stuff from it, but it is different. And 5E was just didn't want to be the ones to change that system. So I don't know. Gnome in armor, mechanical armor. Should I give him a
Then the
beard?
gnome finds out that the armor is actually a warforge.
Right?
That is perfectly okay with them just controlling.
Because I'm not sure how this would work. Like,
Yeah, because gnomes are. They're small, but they're not that small.
yeah, they're not small enough to fit in the chest of a person. So, like, they're either in like a big mech. It's either a big mech, it makes them look like a big person, or they just have like arm extensions and they still have the tiny body, and that's gonna look weird.
I mean, I guess it could be in the body of like a Goliath. But that's a big human.
Yeah, Cosmic, I think that's a, like, if you don't like things in a game, play a different game. Like, there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's tons of systems out there.
Yeah, and I can recognize when something doesn't work. Yeah, but I mean, like, I guess my critique for the chat is that you're pushing it in a very negative way of just like, I'm mad, but like, you don't have a solution for it. Because I've given you lots of solutions, but you're still mad, or you find something new to be mad at. So if you recognize that something doesn't work, change it. And part of that is like, well, they won't let me change it in Adventure League. Don't play Adventure League. Like that. You're at that point. You're at that point of you should be trying to change things. Talk to your DM. Talk to your group. Make things the way you want to play it, so that you all have fun. And that's the important thing, is that you're all having fun. And then if you're not having fun, it's time to find a new game. Like that's normal, and that's okay. It's okay to do that. I've had tons of games where I've played with people, and then their thoughts for what need to happen split, and so I just have to make different games. Like, there are people that come in and people that leave. Some stories are not right for everybody, and that's okay. That's life. Bikini armor. I prefer bikini armor too. Bikini armor is great.
I remember a few jokes about bikini armor.
Yeah, me too. Some people have heard about chainmail and plate armor and all that jazz, but people talk about brigantine. Yeah, we talk about brigantine all the time, Oliver. It's great. It's really good. Mm-hmm. I like the way it looks. It's like chunkier scale, which I really appreciate. Perhaps to highlight a greater topic, have you ever felt like you were holding the rest of your party back? Have I felt like that? Yes. Have I been? I don't know. Like, that's why it's important to talk to your party. Everyone should wear bikini armor regardless of gender. Oh yeah, I didn't think it was one thing or the other. I mean, like, Conan wears bikini armor. It's great.
Effectively, yeah.
Yeah. Brigandine is sick. Yeah. Yeah, holding back your party. I don't think so. Because like I said, if you're talking to your party and you're talking to your GM, and you feel like, man, I don't think this character's doing the right stuff for me. Play a different character. Like try different things. Like, hey, I think my character needs to be a little heavy hitter, or I don't have enough hit points. Is there a way we can adjust that? Or hey, I think I need to be in the back more. Is that okay with everybody? Like, but you're the tank. It's like, oh, I'm not tanking well. So what can we do about that? Like those conversations are okay to have.
Yeah. Or all of a sudden giving a monk an item that allowed them to
be a paladin.
effectively force them into being a subclass paladin, and they didn't have the initial stats for it.
Yep. Change the game. If the game's not working, change the game.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
Just talk it out, people.
Yeah. So like the things I've run into myself as a player, not as a DM. As a player, I've run into people are looking at me to be the person that chooses what we're doing, and my character doesn't have stake in it. Like he just doesn't care. I don't care. I care a little bit because like I want my friends to have fun, right? It's like I want you guys to progress in where your character stories arcs are, and I don't think my character should be the one making the choice. But because of the dynamics of our group, my friends look to me to kind of push that direction, and so I've had to have a talk with them about like, in this situation, my character is just he's impartial. Like he doesn't care about these. He's really only focused on these things, and so to do your storylines, I want you guys to take over. I want you guys to be the ones making these decisions. I'll give my 2 cents in. I'm not just going to stand in the back and do nothing. But like that's the problems I've had because I'm boisterous and I'm quick to kick a door in. So I've kind of had the opposite thing where I'm not holding back the party, but I feel like I'm too aggressive when it comes to that kind of stuff, or I'm too much of the front man, I guess. So I've had to talk to him about that. And communication's great. Imagine chainmail, but made of metal plates and riveted through cloth. Yeah, Brigantine's great. Like I don't know where you're coming up with people don't talk about it enough. It's all over. It's ubiquitous across the armor. Good stuff. Come from the view that I should be looking for external aid to internal issues. I'm putting a band-aid on a person with liver failure. Yeah, I mean, just talk. I can only imagine Rook's tabletop horror stories. I don't actually have that many horror stories, because this is our methodology. Like I think the best horror story I have, Lars was essentially Lars was running a game for us. Lars used to be on the channel every now and again. I don't know if you know my old YouTube channel. He was also there a lot. But so he's one of my friends, and he was running a campaign for us, and he essentially Kevin the Necromancer was like, I think we need to rush this along. I need to play less D&D. So like, can we finish the campaign? And Lars took that as sweet, we'll finish it next week. And so he basically gave our like level 5 characters all of our backstory at one point in time, and it just like it broke me as a player. Because I was like, I don't want this crap. I don't want and so we almost derailed the campaign because of it. Like it wasn't infighting, it wasn't anything, it was too rushed and it didn't feel right, and I pushed back against it really hard. And it really just took us sitting down and talking about it, and we continued playing that campaign a little longer, and that was good. And then we ended it. So I don't have a lot of D&D horror stories of like bad players or anything. I have some funny ones of like people who introduced to D&D that like burned down towns, but yeah. Like it's easy to tell when someone's not interested in D&D, and it's just like, okay, cool, yep, no, that's fine.
Right.
I'm just gonna give this guy like big metal pants.
Big metal poofy pants?
He's just got big metal pants and little tiny gnome arms. Partially it's because the word brigantine doesn't roll off the tongue. It's also a heavy armor, and so while it was much cheaper to manufacture and use, plate mail looks cooler in my mind, so I draw a lot of plate mail. Brigandine armor is also a lot harder to draw, so I don't draw it very often. Even padding isn't really effective against big hammers. Yeah, the Gamba song. Yeah, I incorporate it into some of my artwork, but for the most part, it's not as flashy, so I don't draw it as much. Compressible materials armor to resist bludgeoning. I don't know what's the best against bludgeoning. I guess just, yeah, maybe Brigandine is the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the most recoverable armors. Or the armor innately recovers easier than...
Yeah, because, like, I mean, it's all, what's the word? Escalation, right?
Right.
Everybody's got sticks. People start wearing armor that prevents against sticks.
Although I guess scale mail would be potentially better.
Yeah, maybe. Because there's resistance and then there's like repairability. Because like leather's great because leather's not going to take a lot of damage from blunt weapon, but you're going to get hurt. So like, which is more important, that the plate mail doesn't buckle or that you don't die. So got big hands and little arms. I can't reach it. Shielded and outstretched arm is best against bludgeoning.
Curse.
Yep. Yep. This is better against that is a not worthwhile argument.
But
you can have an academic argument about it.
Gotta spend more money on armor. That way I survive, so I can spend more money on more armor.
The Mythbusters did a thing with a I think it was it a Gambison or was it Brigantine armor? I don't remember. They made it out of paper, which was really funny.
Yeah. Trying to figure out the viability of paper-based plates or plate mail, right? Yeah, because on the Asian side, I think I remember the episode that you're talking about with the Asian styled armor, the Shogun style armor, I guess.
Yeah, it was made out of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that is the cool thing about Brigantine, but like you could say the same thing about chainmail. Like chainmail, you can just replace the rings. You can replace scale rings. And plate mail, like if it gets dented, you just bang it out. Like, so it really does depend on what you're talking about. And I don't think one thing is better than the other. I think it's all situational. Well, which sounds wishy-washy, but like it depends.
Didn't even the plate armor of the day still required you to wear a whole bunch of different types of under armor in order to protect you against it?
Well, yeah, like I said, yeah, it really depends because like it depends on what type of armor you're talking about, because like Spartans wearing chest plates versus, you know, English full plate armor. And even then there's field plate and there's plate you would wear on the, like out to cavalry. So you have like just the breastplate. Like it really depends because like a lot of the full suit plates we see really was meant for tournaments to protect you. Like it's protective armor. Most people would not have that. Most people would just have maybe a shirt coat or a padded shirt. Because you're not fighting people that are going to be taking lots of hits at you. Like you're trying not to get hit with arrows. So shields are way more important in most situations than armor is. But dented plate mail might just kill you. Denting Brigantine in 30 minutes delay your crusades. Yeah, possibly. But like if someone hits you in the chest with a mace hard enough to dent your plate mail, no other armor would have protected you better. Does that make sense? Like that's a lot of force. Bambi, hello. So, as far as like, it's kind of a moot point. Is all I'm getting at. Kind of a moot point. well, the Iron Man suit can withstand lots of temperature heats. Like, well, yeah, but they're designed for specific things. Like, you wouldn't wear your full plate mail if you were fighting on a boat. It's a good way to die real fast.
Right.
But I can withstand being hit by an anchor. It's like, well, let's hope that happens and you don't fall overboard.
think of the armor that Vikings used, people. Not much metal.
How maneuverable do you think people are in full plate armor? It ranges, once again, from like the stuff that was designed to be moved in is pretty not terrible. And the stuff that wasn't designed to be moved in, like for jousting, pretty bad. So yeah, there's some fun stuff on there about, like, I've seen people do the Demon Souls, Dark Souls rolling around in plate mail. That's pretty funny. But that's field armor, so it has lots of like jointed elbows and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I guess heat metal. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Magic's gonna win out anyhow, so it doesn't matter.
Or it should, anyway.
I hate this idea. I don't know how to do this. I was gonna stick his feet out of the chest and just have him like riding it around, but it looks like a baby holder.
I mean, wouldn't that be what it would look like?
I think so, yeah. So, not sure. I don't think that's the way I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make the chest bigger. And I'm gonna stick his hands out here. Little joysticks.
Bring your parent home to school day.
It just looks like it's like a Warforged with a toddler strapped to his chest.
I could see that.
Could be funny.
I actually would probably play one of those. Does that Warforged have a baby with him?
Go! Historical plate is comparable to football armor. Yeah. There should probably be a limit to what magic can do to physical objects. I mean, it's just based on you're talking about game mechanics now, so it's all balanceable. I think at the root of this discussion, really, what you're looking at is like what's the minimum base damage. Like, oh, I can, because there's a lot of hyperbole and shenanigans that goes into D&D, like the mechanics for a cat can kill a civilian.
Yeah,
a level 1 commoner. Yeah, level 0 commoner. Someone was also like, oh, if you fall in bed, you die, and it's like, that's not how fall damage works. Like, you're blending. Yeah, exactly. You're blending the mechanics of the world, or the mechanics of the game, with real world inaccuracies. So like the same thing with the peasant railgun. That's a really fun one. I think it's a really funny idea, but like it's like a world breaking thing. It's like, yeah, so if it's a world breaking thing, just don't do it. Like don't. Where if every peasant takes their 30 feet and runs from here to here in 6 seconds, we have 1,000 people. It's like yeah, you wouldn't allow 30 people to take 6-second intervals one after another to comprise 6 seconds of time. That's just not how it works. That's not how anything works. Mechanically, right. That's how it works. But like, that's not in the spirit of how it was designed, and that's an abuse of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go back to all the way to what D&D was originally based off of, which was essentially field war games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so you need those base units. So yeah, like a good example of that is like bonking your head on the door and taking a d4 of bludgeoning damage. You could whack your head on something and take a d4 of damage, but if you're not in combat and like your character just walks into a door and like, ow, I bumped my nose real good, there's no damage. Like no lethal damage was dealt. Are they still able to fight? Yeah, then no damage was dealt. They have a bruise, right? So like that goes back to the damage is not physical harm. Damage is the amount of weakening of your ability to fight.
You take 20 points of emotional damage.
Yeah, emotional damage. It's kind of a weird way to think, but like I think there's a D&D is a great example of people kind of getting to dip their toes in game design, because it is so customizable that you can really sit down and actually like, oh yeah, I want to make my own thing, and that's great. That's probably the first time a lot of people have gotten the chance to do that.
Yep.
But those kind of misunderstandings or like people trying to break the game is kind of what game balancing is about, and it's one of the reasons 5e is built the way it is, because they're like, let's make it as simple as possible for people to do that, and it also makes it as simple as possible for people to abuse the system.
Mm-hmm.
I flick him real hard. Yeah, like there was a good example of this of essentially if two capable, like competent players, not players, but like their characters are competent fighters, that's the better way to say it, want to spar, they should not be fighting for hit points, because both of them shouldn't be trying to harm the other person. And so you can roll damage and do like non-lethal damage. That's a good way to track it. But like my thought is non-lethal damage just goes away after you take a 5-minute rest. And so that's a good example of like, you are both skilled enough that if you're not trying to hurt each other, you should take 0 actual damage from a fight between friends. Like you're just training. No one is trying to get hurt. And that's a really weird way to think about it. It's like, I guess I'm swinging my sword at him. What if I want to cut him? And it's like, well, then you're trying to kill him and you're no longer sparring.
Yeah, you're no longer sparring at all.
So it's just an interesting way to think about the game, to kind of put those limitations on things. I'm sure
the sparring duel into a duel.
Yep. There's just some people made for degrading items with use or damage. Yeah, there's a bunch. You can do that kind of stuff all the time. Pathfinder has an old and 3.5. You can go back to 3.5 for this. All items had hit points. They had hardness based on what kind of materials they were made out of. And so you could do a lot of really fun stuff with that. As well as there were weapons like the Lucerian hammer, that every time you hit somebody, you could try to do a sundering attack on their weapon or their armor. There's a lot of stuff you can do with that. Wait, didn't you say hit points don't represent health? Correct. Yeah, hit points don't represent health.
No, they're kind of a gauge, right?
The only hit points that matters is the last one. The only hit points that matters.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, it's 100% or no percent.
Yep. Gygax described it as, until you lose that last hit point, you are at 100% capable of fighting, because otherwise you would be basically like getting weaker as you fought.
Yeah, the death spiral.
Mm-hmm. And so as long as you have 1 hit point, you are fully capable of doing everything you're able to do. And that's why things like strength damage or constitution damage, that represented harm. And that's why it was permanent until you had to heal it over time or use like restoration spells, because like, oh yeah, you flay all the skin off your left arm and you now lose 4 strength until you get that fixed and or die from it. So no, that's how the game used to work, and they got rid of it. They got rid of a lot of it.
Yep.
Attempt number 4, getting a Shatterkai Hexblade Warlock with a double-bladed scimitar. Killing it, guys. Brandon, is that your suggestion? Did you put it on the list? Or would you like me to add it right now? Is it already on the list for Monday? Would there be a problem with using HP while sparring? No, you could. You could, but like that's what I'm saying. Like if you bring someone to 0 hit points, you have the option to kill them or not kill them. So it's just like because hit points are your ability to fight, like your ability to continue fighting. If you're sparring, can you just go into a real fight and have full hit points? I would say yes. Like you guys are maybe tired, but you're not trying to hurt somebody. You're not weakening their armor, their stance. I suppose I see what you're saying. I see you're saying that the argument is that you're not taking damage. Hit points is a good measure for sparring. But my mind is sparring should be curricular. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just spinning a little too much with it. Just add it now if it's not there. Also, thank you for saying my name correctly. Yeah, sure. I hope I said it correctly. Let me find out if it's on this list. It is not. I'll add it on there. Yeah, so we refresh. What's going on here? Why is YouTube stop? We refresh the list every week, so you'd have to reapply it on Monday. But I will add it now because that's fine. There's nothing wrong with adding it now. You can also do it during the streams. There we go. It's on the list. That mentality is why healing words yo-yo works so well. Not that I have a problem with that. Yeah, healing word is great. Keep going. Keep going. That being said, like there's some fun stuff you can do with what's it called? There's a whole bunch of books written about Coliseum fighting. I can't remember what it's called. Performance fighting. There we go.
Oh yeah.
Performance fighting is really interesting.
Performance fighting.
Yeah, because then you're not just worried about hit points. You're also worried about like whipping up the crowd, like having. Oh man, my brain is not working right now. Getting people to favor you and giving your attention and different things like that.
Yeah, because wasn't there some historical evidence of or stories, I should say, of gladiators winning, and then essentially the king or whoever was presiding was like, "No, that guy's gonna die."
Like, I think so, but I think it's a little hyperbolic. Like, I think that was the mythos behind it. Because at the end of the day, a lot of essentially the gladiator, and this could be wrong. This is the last time I looked into it at all. The gladiators were really more like, one, they were slaves, and two, they were performance. It was all performance. So like,
yeah.
Aside from people getting purposefully killed, like they were basically just to be executed that way or fed to lions and whatnot. Essentially, it was good to keep them all alive and healthy. And so choosing a king to kill somebody, like that's kind of the hyperbolic thing of like, oh yeah, this is the weird thing that happened. And that's the stories we tell.
Sure, yeah.
But and that might have happened because someone was displeased, like, I'm gonna kill that guy's performer, just to teach him a lesson, right? Like, but
yeah,
I don't think that was the norm.
Makes me think of like medieval WWE.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Gladiator games equals WWE. Refresh. Tis but a scratch. Put your arms off. No, it's not.
No, it isn't. Look. It's
That's 2 out of 3.
Flesh wound.
Okay, there's my gnome piloting a human mech. His little legs just go down here. But that's where I'm going to stop. I'm going to go and roll the dice again.
What is your name? What is your quest? What is your favorite color?
Essentially,
Okay, off you go.
I think the going back to the sparring thing, essentially if you want to roll sparring like between two people, I really think you should have like an agreed upon thing. Like it should really be like performance. It should be the reason I say this is because there have been times when two players would be like, I want to fight this guy. And it's like, okay, cool. The barbarian and the fighter spend the next 35 minutes just punching each other in the face. Right? Like, make 2 rolls. You win. Like, that's how I would handle it. That's kind of where I'm getting at. Is like, you don't always have to, you don't have to use the mechanics to make that kind of stuff happen. It should just be that those two people are trying to, you know, who can win the arm wrestling competition? Who can best the other person within 3 moves? It doesn't have to go down to the mechanics of the game, because those mechanics are designed for open air combat where life and death is on the line. I rolled a 30. I don't know if I have a 30. I do have a 30. Dang it. Otterfolk barbarian with a mohawk.
With the Sicilian when life is on the line. Or however that goes.
I think that was pretty close. Was the flying capacity of a swallow? Kings have to know these kind of things. Bigger than he was. Wait, hold on. Otterfolk barbarian with a mohawk. And an axe just bigger than he and scars, because barbarians. And his favorite rock looks like an axe head. Alright, I like it. Good job, barbarian otter. What color are we doing? Purple again? Purple again. Sweet. Sweet.
Making a swole Finbar.
Mm-hmm. The Finbar.
We call him Swolebar.
Okay. The owls outside the forest have gone back to their screaming. Performance fighting is how I came up with the magical wrestling elf bard. Nice. Instead of much spells coverage for unarmed in 5e. Why not just give points for numbers of hits or fencing? Yeah, I mean, like that's another way to do it. Like, that's what I'm saying. Instead of just doing direct combat, like you can make sparring way more interesting than just burning through each other's hit points.
Mm-hmm.
All right, otters. What do otters look like? Giant noodle dongs.
Yeah, I mean, Burning Wheel, for example, if people know about it, you actually had verbal debates, which was, you had very specific skills that you had to be trained in. It basically, it was debate club.
There is definitely I have a few friends that are well versed in debate, and it's not fun when they decide like, "Oh, I'm gonna talk words around you." It's like, oh my god, man, just stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I get it. I'm not trained in this. It's fine.
Well, it's like, oh, well, I want to convince the entire party to do this one thing.
Oh, I've never had that
Okay.
happen in D&D. I'm talking in real life. I knew a guy that would he would go down to the courtyard of our college, and he would just rile up anybody that was there that was like talking about religion, because we always had people just like with megaphones just like, the world is ending, you're all sinners. He would go down there and he was really well versed in a lot of like a few different religious texts, Bibles, whatever you want to call them. And so he would just talk circles around these people that were not prepared for someone who's that well versed with rhetoric and debate. And it's just like,
Oh yeah,
you're kind of
I mean,
sick.
I mean, you really don't want to debate a theologian on religion. Unless you're talking about a different religion than what they've actually studied, right?
Yeah, and it's just debate itself is its own skill set.
Yeah,
And
I think so.
I've forgotten how to draw otters. Apparently, it's closer. I think
But
the
it's
eye is too
also
far.
an interesting distinction between a formal debate
Yeah,
versus, essentially an argument.
yeah. I mean, that I think is really what it is at the end of the day. Is like there are people that just love to argue, and the people that are good at it are really good at it. And it's like, man, it's not fun to talk to you sometimes. Why are we screaming at 10 p.m.? Oh, the owls? I mean, because they want some owl poon. That's how it works. Or there's a third owl, and now an agreement must be arranged for who gets to leave. Otter folks got me remembering the Redwall books. Yeah, Redwall books are great. Get out of my house. I let Skip Cat out this morning, and there were a bunch of crows in the front yard, and they just lost their mind. And I was like, oh, that's not good. I'm gonna make this a chunky otter. I definitely don't condone the people that would just scream religious rhetoric at college students. But I also don't think you need to antagonize them. They were both in the wrong in that situation. Nowadays, if he would have put it on the internet, he probably would have been famous.
TikTok famous, maybe.
Yeah. Yep.
Which a lot of people feel that actually means something. Which
I remember. I think my favorite.
I'm unsure.
I like Jordan Klepper. Jordan Klepper's funny. He does good reporting when he just goes around talking to people. But that all started with, from in my mind, insult the comic dog.
Oh yeah.
Just going around interviewing people with a talking puppet, smoking a cigar. Oh man, good days. Oh, but that's half the fun. Yeah, that's the problem.
Sounds like a real good deal for me to pop on.
Don't you think that they should at least get the butt for? What's a butt for? For pooping. Triumph the insult comic dog. I think that's what it was.
Ew.
Oh, Conan O'Brien.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
I mean, wasn't he also back on the Man Show as well?
Oh, probably. I mean, he was a comedian. He was a comedian, and that just would go do. He would do on the spot reporting for Conan O'Brien. So I mean,
Oh, okay.
yeah, no, he was a standalone comedian. He was an insult comic. A nuanced option. Okay. Oh, opinion. Nuanced opinion. On my college campus must be an insert bad thing. A nuanced opinion on my college campus must be an insert bad thing. I don't understand that joke. Maybe it's not a joke.
I think it's
College
related.
campuses just super. I mean, I assume they're all super polarized now.
Yeah, people being super serious about stuff that isn't necessarily being talked talked about in a serious manner.
I definitely had a roommate that was, she went to every single protest that she could find within like 20 miles. She was very opinionated like that. She wanted to be very active, and I was like, that's cool, I don't care. And she was like, you should be more involved, and I'm like, I really just, I don't care. So unfortunately, and at the end of the day, like, I think it's important to be able to stand up and say that kind of stuff, but I don't partake. Which, maybe someday I will have to. Who knows? But that's also one of the reasons I try to keep the channel not polarized, I guess is the way to say it. I would prefer if people were able to talk to each other calmly and respectfully about whatever. That's fine, but it doesn't always happen that way.
Yeah, reminds me of the more common idea that a lot of people think, they associate debates with arguments, and I'm like, but those should not be the same thing in my mind.
Yeah,
like, they are.
There's a big bit of gripe about that going around because of Joe Rogan right now. I saw him.
That doesn't surprise me.
Philly DeFranco was talking about it yesterday, and I looked it up this morning. So he had an anti-vaxxer on, and he was trying to get one of the guys that helped develop the COVID vaccine to debate him, and he's like, I'm not going to debate this guy. This guy is an idiot. And it's like, well, that's not going to have a good discourse. So yeah. I can see where they're both wanting to come from, but at the same time, like, I kind of agree with them. Like, you shouldn't be. A debate has to happen between two people that could change their minds, because otherwise it's not a debate, it's an argument. It's just like,
yeah, unless it's a performance, right? Like a debate club, for example.
Yeah, but because in a debate club, the people debating need to be knowledgeable, but don't have a stake in it, right?
Correct.
You don't get to choose which side you debate, or at least someone doesn't, right?
Yeah, you essentially are trying to sway a panel of judges to grade in your favor, right?
Yeah. And so the problem is, and I see this a lot because I'm a masochist when it comes to watching garbage. I watch a lot of like flat earther debunking stuff and like ancient aliens. That's the reality TV that I want to watch, right? It's just like, tell me your crazy thing. I have to know.
Sure.
I love it, and it's all garbage. But so like, it can do real damage if you try to debate somebody on that level, because really what they want is they just want the attention. Like, it doesn't matter if they look like an idiot at the end of the day. They're getting the attention they want, and somebody's going to agree with them, regardless of whether or not it's true or they believe it's true, is the scariest thing. It's just like...
True. So, wouldn't that be a specific type of person? Specific type of personality that's going for that?
Maybe, but at the same time, like, you don't need to lift up those voices that just want that attention.
Sure.
I don't think the debate they want is actually a worthwhile debate. I think it'd be really cool to get Joe Rogan to moderate anti-vaxxers and like the people that make the vaccines. Like, I think that would be worthwhile. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can see both sides of this, but at the same time, there's too much opportunity for people to then be like, oh, these two experts are debating each other, and it's like, this person is not an expert. Like, they have no peer-reviewed anything. They're just that's the danger. So, may I pay your adorable... Oh, does that say, may I pay your adorable head, please? At Cosmic? What? I don't know what that means. I assume you meant pet. May I pet your adorable head, please? Pet. yeah. So I think it's important. Like, it's important to be able to talk about that kind of stuff, and we can't talk about it if no one will ever talk. But you need to realize the ramifications of labeling something a debate, or at the minimum, it needs to be proposed in a way that shows the gravity and expertise of everyone involved.
And no ad hominem attacks, people.
And so, like, that's the problem. Like I said, with like my friend, when he would go do that kind of stuff, is he would go down there and he talked to like basically like 18-year-old kids that are on missionary trips, or you know, like they basically have like a spiel that they're supposed to give because they think that will save people in their internal struggles. And then he goes down there and just like obliterates them with their own scripture. And it's like, this feels disingenuous, or at least kind of toxic. And I don't think that kind of stuff is right. Like, sure, it's funny.
Well, yeah, the underlying reason why that person did that, I'm getting the impression, is not for the benefit of
anybody but themselves
on the mission.
Yeah. No, they're specifically just inflating their own ego. So I remember, I don't know if people remember this because maybe they're too young. Maybe it was 10 years ago or so, when Bill Nye debated what Ken Starr, is that what his name is? Something like that. That guy got so much money and credit, and in my mind, Bill Nye just like mopped the floor with him. Doesn't matter. That's not what he wanted. He wanted to be on a stage with somebody famous to get more notoriety. Good faith arguments are few and far between. Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. Is like, if the people have a really good faith argument, I think that's important that we hear it. But the problem is that I don't think there are. And that might be a little just like, I don't want to say disingenuous, but like maybe
nihilistic.
Yeah, that might just be a little too nihilistic. Maybe I need to chill out. but it's important. It's important to be able to talk. You know, talk to your DMs, talk to your players. If you can't have discourse without rage, then maybe you shouldn't be trying to have discourse at all.
Yeah.
What can I do to make this barbarian more barbarian? Maybe a big skull belt?
I mean,
You could do a skull belt.
what about
A little chunkier.
lightning bolts coming from his chest hairs?
He needs a beard. He's got like a belly beard. Make him a little more fluffier. Yeah, that helps. Okay.
I mean, Path of the Tempest Barbarian is a thing.
Yep, Pact of the Tum-Tum. It would seem that you can't monetize honestly. That's an interesting way to look at it. I mean, yeah, I think maybe it's less that you can monetize honestly, but if you want to feed the algorithm, you know, you gotta clickbait. You gotta clickbait real hard.
Well, because the algorithm rewards that.
Rewards are, yeah. So I don't know if it's that you can't monetize. I think it's more of, I think your head's in the right direction. It's like people have discovered that they can monetize by being dishonest, and so that's what they do. So I think what you said is true, but it's just the way you look at it.
I mean, snake oil salesmen have been around
yeah,
since time immemorial.
It's much harder to monetize ethically. And unfortunately,
I got this bridge I want to sell you.
Yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, but
Cough. I mean, yeah. Is this question open to chat? Which question? I lost something. The how often? How often do you make your antagonists and big bad evil guys sympathetic, or can they not be like that? All the time. I mean, I'm a. If you guys haven't figured it out, I'm a very middle of the road person. So I like complexity, and I like nuance, and I like things to not be black and white.
Yeah.
So with my evil bad guys, like the last one I had, I made sure he wasn't a good guy. What he was doing was inherently bad. Like, my players are like, okay, he might be a good guy because he's trying to stop this other bad guy, but he's still a bad guy. Like, actually, this is Noir, so you would know this too, Inferno.
Yeah.
We actually finished that campaign with Lars, and I thought it went pretty well.
Awesome.
But
I'm glad somebody did.
yeah, they went a completely different direction than you did.
I mean, they, from what you were saying, they went in a completely different direction since like day one.
Oh yeah, yep. Not every villain needs to be relatable. That I also agree with Cosmic. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. Go ahead for it.
I was just gonna make a comment that I had one campaign where the quote unquote big bad evil guy, he got into a debate with the party because it was a confrontation. Essentially, they went to a dinner / banquet thing, and then they debated each other on the on how to fix the world, right?
I remember you told me this story before.
Yeah, and so the big bad recognized that certain change needed to happen, understood that, so did the party. But they had two completely different ideas of how to do it, and yeah.
I think a better thing to say is, not from what you said, but just in general, like, can the big bad evil guy be relatable? Do they have to be relatable? It's like, should they?
Yeah.
Should they be relatable? And that can completely change the story, because the one I am running right now, the big bad evil guy right now is currently lycanthropy. Like, everyone in the party got infected with it, and two of them are like, I'm kind of okay with it. It's like, okay, that's fine. You guys need to find a way to control it. And the third party member is just like kind of off the rails, and so he's trying to cure it. So my big bad evil for this campaign is a concept that I'm going with, and I want them to just survive through it. But I keep throwing out these, like, I have the Earl King in there. I have a few Fey creatures that are just kind of like stalking the party. And so they have this feeling of like, who's the big bad guy? But it's like, this is just a story about you guys. That's all this has to be. It's contained within how you guys are going to survive this. So if you want to do a big bad evil guy, you really need to ask the question of should they be relatable to your story? Because if you want them to be, that's great. But if your party is playing, super arcadey and they just want a big bad evil guy to smash, no, make them batshit crazy, like so far gone that no one is questioning it. It's just like, yeah, gotta stop that guy. There's nothing wrong with that.
5e even has a module that's very similar to that. I mean, it's the Barovia campaign. If you really want to look into all the potential possibilities of which way everything can go. Yeah.
There we go. That's what we needed. We needed just some paint. I like the introduction of Skeletor. Yeah, right. Like, Elvin here says, I know not every villain needs to be Killmonger, which Killmonger was like, right? It's like, okay, kind of justified. Maybe didn't do it the right way. Not everybody needs to be Skeletor or Sauron. Exactly. And I think that's a really good point. Skeletor is just evil for evil's sake, right? Like, I am evil. Sauron, on the other hand, was corrupted, right? He's just bad. He's just like, your job was to do this, and you did the opposite. Therefore, bad guy, right? Like, he wasn't... I do like that a villain that will try to, like, coerce the party. Like, just because they're evil doesn't mean they have to be irrational. They definitely can, like, try to convince the party to join them, or try to convince the party to change their ways. And it's just like, they don't have to be chaotic stupid, right? They can be evil. The one line that stood out for me from the original Day of the Dead, get together, how can we get together when we can't even agree what the best action is? Not a direct quote, but paraphrase. Sure, yeah, and I think that's fine. Like, I like the idea that the bad guys usually think they're doing the right thing for their own intents, right? Like, they don't always have to be super selfish. They're just like, you just don't have to agree. So not every bad evil guy has to be, trying to destroy the world. But maybe they are. Like, and just, you have to ask why they're doing it. I love lycanthropy, not a fan of requiring players to change alignment, though. Yeah, alignment thing needs to get thrown out the window, which I think it slowly is. Bad guys or just antagonistic. Yeah, and that's a good way to look at it. Lars tried to make a king seem like a bad guy, and like, yeah, we're just gonna ignore him. Like, but he's a king. It's like, yeah, we don't care. We don't find his authority imposing. Like, we're really powerful. Like, you're surrounded by guards. It's like, well, we can kill all of them, or we can just teleport out. And since we're not evil, we're just gonna teleport away because we don't care. So, yeah, I think if you want to do a quick deep dive into alignments, I think it's a good starting place to tell a story, to tell to people like, okay, my character is this, and that's how I will be playing them. And then as soon as the game starts, none of that matters, and it's all down to your actions. Between you and the DM is the only one that actually knows what your character is, because they are the one deciding how your actions are taken to the world, which then decides your alignment. Yeah, a baddie that is either a reaction to a party or a cause of the group together. That can be fun too. Feeding zombies human flesh to behave just isn't going to work. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of an evil act, but also, according to D&D, when people die, they are no longer people, they're objects. So do with that what you will in your morality spectrum. I think I saw a TikTok the other day that might have been, I don't remember who said it, but they were asking if it was Brandon Lee Mulligan. Someone had asked him if the people in your universe are giant vegetables and they eat vegetables, are they cannibals? And he said, we're animals and we eat animals. That is not the same thing. Like, you're not a cannibal for eating like things, you're a cannibal for eating the thing. So words matter. It makes a difference. Morality is a spectrum. I'd say lawful good is the easiest to play. I would say lawful good is really hard to play. Because people get trapped with the idea of what lawful good means. Like, they get trapped inside of this is the only thing that is lawful good, and it's a spectrum. It's a huge spectrum. So you can play lawful good tons of different ways. But people kind of get stuck into that lawful stupid mindset. So I think neutral good is a good place for everybody to start. Like, I generally want to do good, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. I might have to break a law or two, and I'm okay with that. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I like how Matt Koval described the difference between lawful and unlawful, in the fact of you're driving a vehicle down the road in the middle of nowhere, and you
cut out there. Uh-oh. I assume you're asking whether or not you would drive in the middle of the road or on the wrong side of the road. That defines your lawfulness. That's an interesting way to look at it. So, Oliver, you say that, but you in previous games you thought you were lawful good, and I would disagree. So, yeah, what's good for you, it may not be the case for everybody. What does it mean to be lawful good? Follow the law and nothing but the law? No, I think that's kind of what I'm talking about. Is people have this mindset of like, I have to follow all the laws religiously. Like, I have to enforce every law. Lawful just means you err on the side of whatever enforcement or social structure that you're in, and good means you just generally want to help. So unselfish and law abiding is a really simple way to look at it. Lawful neutral would be you follow the laws, but you don't really want to interact with people. Lawful evil would be you're going to follow the laws, but only as far as it pertains to helping you. That's generally the way I look at it. Runs off of the trend of selfishness and selfish. Yeah, exactly, Cosmic. That's the way I look at it too. Beneficial and detrimental. Yep, I agree. That was chaotic neutral. No, that was pretty evil. There was a lot of evil shenanigans going on there. And for Brother Malachi, yeah, talking about like the alignment scale is really just it's subjective. At its core, it is subjective. So honorable is an interesting way to look at it. 1 second. Okay. I went to evil really fast, yeah. This is how you write Captain America in soups. People say they're hard to write for. Yeah, like Superman very much is lawful good, which I think is interesting. And a lot of his comics deal with him like pushing that line. Whereas Captain America is lawful good. But
he's utilitarian. Good.
Yeah, exactly. Like he will do whatever it takes to do the right thing, which can make him sway away from being lawful, which is really interesting. Like I think a good example of that is the Civil War. The comic Civil War is really good. I highly suggest people read it. It's a commentary on the Patriot Act, which I really like.
Yeah, the Superhero Registration Act. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really good, and it's really powerful. And Captain America basically says no to the government because it's not. He doesn't think it's right, and that's the way he chooses goodness. And there's a really cool scene in there when he meets up with the Punisher, and he just beats the shit out of the Punisher because the Punisher's like, "We're the same," and he's like, "Ah," and just
yeah,
beats the hell out of him.
So there are aspects of them that would be the same, but they're not the same.
Exactly. Just put them in moral conundrums, and that's good hard against black and white worldviews. Yeah, I guess so. I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Yep. I think I'm burnt. It's 2:30. We went through a lot of these today. I think we got 10 done, something like that, maybe 6. That's 7 done. That's pretty good. We will be back on Friday for sure. There's still a lot left. So, can I do one more? Let's do one more, and then we'll call it. We'll do one more. We'll draw it in green, and then we'll call it a day.
Time for a salad.
22. Lizard folk Brachiosaurus fighter with a bow and arrow. Which one's a Brachiosaurus? Is that the big long neck ones? What's the difference between a Brachiosaur and a Brontosaur?
That's a good question.
Oliver, I think the thing I really want to point at is don't worry about your alignment. Like, unless that's like really what you're into for your game, the alignment it's not a good way to.
Yeah.
It's not a good way to play. It's essentially like the people in the people in church that are like, I gave to the poor, so I'm really, really good today. It's like, what? Like, why are you like this? I don't understand. It's just weird. So, yeah, don't worry about it. Play your character the way you think that you should play them, and then have fun with it. If you are trying to do like a morality system, because I have known some people that have done that, where they actually like quantify the morality system, and that's how they win, like by achieving certain things. Some people really enjoy that, and that's cool.
But morality is different than alignment,
Yeah. And that-
especially in D&D.
Yep. Yep. Okay.
I just don't
Brachiosaur
think
with
it
a
was
bow.
designed for him.
It wasn't. Yeah. The alignment system was meant to. I think it's really a holdover from when you wouldn't particularly. I've drawn a plumbus. Essentially, it was to inform the players of how their character should act. Because you would get a pre-generated character, or you would write your character and then give it to somebody, and then they would need to know how that character would act in certain situations. And that used to be a whole big thing. It's like, no, your character wouldn't do that. They're lawful good. It's like, oh, technically that's fair. So I don't think people want to play that way anymore, and I don't think people should. So don't worry about alignment.
Yeah, the game has definitely moved away from that idea as well.
Paladins used to be tied to their alignments. This gave them a rise to lawful stupid and being a taskmaster to the party. Yeah, which I think is an over correction from basically like adhering to raw. Just that was not the intent. Rules as intended, that was rules as written. Yeah, the wrench is what's the lawful good response to the trolley system. Yeah, look, it's just there isn't one. That's the whole point. Oh, the otter was supposed to have a mohawk. I totally forgot about the mohawk. Oh, that makes him look like a beaver. That's interesting. Who knew? Otters with mohawks or beavers. There we go. Yeah, Oliver, that's not how the trolley problem works. Everybody wants to outsmart the trolley problem, but like that's not the point of it.
It's a mental exercise.
But it's an unanswerable question. Like it's completely morality. Like it's a complete.
It's the Kobayashi Maru.
It's the Kobayashi Maru. Yeah. There is no correct answer.
Right.
Well, if I had infinite time to talk to everybody, oh, they're dead now. That was your choice. Good job.
Okay, Batman. What are you gonna pull out of your belt this time? Shark repellent spray.
I bought the train car company and fired the operator.
So he would have never been there.
Just derail the trolley, easy. Yep.
Yeah, knock-on effects. Yeah.
Which is lawful but not good. Yep. That's why you need a rogue. That's why you need the rogue in the party. Just like, which one do we save? I already pulled the lever. What? I get his boots. I done drawing a silly dinosaur. I think that means that my brain is done skis. Give him a little quiver. Leopard bunny, I think that's a good way to go through life. Save as many as you can. Once again, not the trolley question though. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think what you're saying makes sense, and I think that's a good way to do it. And that's usually that's how doctors have to think about things. That would be the ethical way to do it. Is what'll save the most people, who has the best chance of saving somebody's life, or who has the most chance of survival. Those are really hard calls.
Yeah. Ethics, morality, utilitarianism, they're all really philosophically interesting ideas, but...
And I think you can kind of touch on some of that stuff with D&D. Like, I like positing those kind of things. But, like, the trolley question itself is, like I said, it's inherently meant to fail. And so, like, I would never throw that. Yeah, I would never throw that at my players, because really is you making a choice different than not making a choice? Like, that's really what the trolley question is for, is because inaction is essentially also a choice, and so there's no way to win. Yeah. There's no way to win that. And that goes back. Like, there's a lot of like, how do you make the villain really bad? It's like, oh, we'll make them choose. Like, that's the Batman thing, right? Like the Batman Begins thing. Like, which one do you save? And Batman's like, I'll save both of them. It's like, okay.
Well, and not every situation is going to have a winning state.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's how it's inherently different than the trolley question, because I think the Batman situation where you give them the option to save both or something is really fun. Like, that's a cool ultimatum, because you feel like you're outsmarting a system. But the trolley problem itself is not meant to do that. It's not meant for that. So, real talk, I don't like the idea of just throwing up your hands and saving. Not my problem. If you have the opportunity to save more lives, yeah. But, like, that's what I'm saying. Save more lives is not a solution to that problem.
Yeah.
If there are two people hanging out on the edge of a cliff, both identical in evilness, etc., which one lawful good save? Well, I don't have to answer that question. It's an unanswerable question.
Which there are many of those mental exercises.
Yeah, there's no answer. There is no answer. And that's the point. That's the point of the question, to make you realize that there are no answers sometimes. I really liked... I go to the Dresden books. Dresden's books are great. But one of the characters there is he's a paladin. He is like a quintessential paladin, and his big thing is he, as a lawful good character, will not kill somebody that he could reform. Like, he's said that many times, and even so, like, there was one big bad evil guy. They got him to the point where they could have killed him, and he's like, I give up. And he's like, okay, and he stopped. Like, he just stopped. Like, that is lawful good. Like, he's like, okay, if you acknowledge and you are willing to, and every other character's like, no, he's tricking you. He's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I think he's tricking me or you think he's tricking me. I have a code, and I will always let people have redemption. That's a really cool code, and it sucks because it can be very much exploited.
but I dig it. Like, that's a great example of that, right?
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the things that type of scenario is supposed to really educate people on, is the fact that no matter what choices you make, there will always be consequences.
Yeah.
Both good and bad.
Yep. The trolley question is a mind fuck. That's all there is to it. And I think with that, we're probably going to call it for the day. It wouldn't be on me. Yeah, Oliver, that's not true.
Yep.
Not true. That's not how that works.
I mean, you may think that that's the way it works.
If that's how you have to rationalize it to yourself, yeah, that's fair. But I'm sure someone will be mad that you didn't save the other person.
Or somebody will be mad that you did.
Yep.
Right? I mean, there ultimately is no way to please everybody, and that's the story.
Codes like that are tough to play at the table, but sometimes you want to play something who is black and white. Yeah, and they can be really fun. It's just it's a matter of making sure everybody's enjoying it. Like, because the big problem is with confliction, right? Like I said, if you're playing that and they were given an option where they had to like let somebody die, they probably just wouldn't. Right? Like, it's like, okay, here are your options. We burn the entire game to the ground because you're too stubborn to think for a minute, or your character acknowledges that they can't make this decision and lets the party do their job, right? Like, that's where, even though things you can play black and white, sometimes you can't be the one to deal with situations. I think a really good example of that, and this is I think where we're going to call it after this, is Taliesin. I can't remember which character he was playing. I think it was Orin, the rock guy. He watched Fernie steal something, and instead of being like, you stole, now you have to die, he's like, I will make this right by stealing it back and giving it to the person, or like compensating them, right? It's like, for me, you shouldn't break the law, but I need you in the party, and I need the party to coexist, so I will just try to make amends for your transactions or your transgressions. Like, it's a cool way to play, because you're not being stupid. You're not being lawful stupid, but you are trying to keep yourself accountable to your own code. And I think that's the best way to do it. So I love it. I like the situation that is a party ending. Yep. All right, I'm gonna take off. Thanks for hanging out today, everybody. Got a little heavy there at the end, but that's all right. Drew some fun stuff. We got a derpy dinosaur. It's probably pretty good. We'll get back on Friday. I have the same list saved out, so we will just keep on with that. There's a lot left, but we'll go from there. We'll see how far we get. I'm still going to try to do the sponsorship, so if people want to sponsor the next video, let me know. And we'll put your name up on the board and figure out what that means, because we need to figure that out. We'll put up like a sponsor tag or something where people can write little messages to each other. Yeah, that's all I got. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep your dice on the table. We'll catch y'all later. Bye, everybody. Let's see if I can find somebody to raid real quick. If not, we'll just bounce. Nope. Okay. Bye, everyone.